Welcome to the Windy City. It is 70 with a chance of showers. Pittsburgh and Chicago. Steelers winners week 1. The Bears defeated up at Green Bay. Hello, friends. Jim Nantz along with Phil Simms. Week 2. How crucial is this spot right here for the Bears?
Sense of urgency for the Chicago Bears. We talked to Lovie Smith on Friday. You asked him that question. He was sitting on the edge of his seat, and he goes, "We're edgy. I'm edgy." They want that first victory.
Said this could be a signature victory. Having a chance at the Super Bowl champion Steelers, who will kick it away. Toss won by the Bears, and they wanted the football. This game brought to you in high definition here on CBS. And here we go. Pittsburgh playing here for the first time since '95. They drive it down to Johnny Knox, and the rookie speedster is out to the 30-yard line when he's tripped up by Logan. Return of 26 yards. Now, how will Jay Cutler fare today? Coming off the second worst quarterback rating of his career, and the first time ever at any level he threw 4 picks in a game in the loss against the Packers at Lambeau. But we've seen him many times in Denver the last couple of seasons, Phil, and he's had big bounce back games every time he's come off a poor performance.
Yeah, he doesn't carry bad plays over. The good thing for the Chicago Bears, Pittsburgh's defense is the same defense they played last week up in Green Bay.
Matt Forte gets the first handle. He was contained last week by the Packers, just 55 yards on 25 carries. Give him 2 on that carry. The other big off-season acquisition, Pace at left tackle. On the right side, second-year man out of Vanderbilt, Chris Williams, their #1 a year ago. Speaking of Vanderbilt, you got Earl Bennett, who lapped over 1 year as a freshman with Cutler, and there was good chemistry between those two last week in the game against Green Bay. 5 Vanderbilt Commodores in all on this Bears roster. A 2nd and 8 from the 31, and they get it into the hands of Hester. Little spin move to try to elude Harrison, and he's taking it to the right side. William Gaither has the angle and forces him out after a gain of 2. This Pittsburgh defense last year, #1 in the league, fewest points allowed. #1 in the league, fewest yards allowed. And again, it's Smith, Hampton, and Kiesel up front. And the linebacking core that is so active with Woodley, Ferrier, Timmons, and the defender of the year in 2008, James Harrison. Taylor, Clark, and of course the big news, Polamalu out for about a month with a knee sprain. Carter replaces him today. And you saw Polamalu, who will work with Tyrone Carter throughout this game, be a second set of eyes today, Carter told us last night. Cutler swings it over, and Forte, with his first catch, did not have one last week, immediately hammered by Harrison for no gain. So 3 and out for the Bears.
Talked to Mike Tomlin last night about the quick passes outside. That's a Chicago Bears throw. He goes, the good thing is we have speed on defense, and the 3-4 defense, that's 1 extra guy standing up. It means a lot, and they do a tremendous job stopping the quick passes.
Brad Maynard, great hang time specialist, to punt it away to Stephon Logan. Angles this to the sideline. Logan, little play on it at all. Well done by Maynard. 52 yards. Here comes Roethlisberger, coming off 10 days ago. Statistically, his best game as far as completions and yards in 3 years. 363 yards, 33 completions. There was a flag on the punt.
Personal foul. Number 24, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
So it's against Ike Taylor. Scott Green informs us. And let's look at that Pittsburgh offensive line. Will they create some openings today for that running game, which was stagnant in the game against the Titans? Starks on the left side. Cologne on the right. Of course, the 2 receivers, both Super Bowl MVPs. And Willie Parker last week, only 13 carries, 19 yards. Average yards per rush against Tennessee last week for Pittsburgh was their worst game in 432 games. You have to go all the way back to a game in 1982 since they fared so poorly on the ground. They begin at the 8. It's Parker plowing ahead, and that's a good piece of running for Parker. A Chicago defense that, well, since Lovie Smith came on the scene in 04, has been #1 in the league in takeaways. Though they did not have one last week, Agunlier had a pair of sacks. The news on this side, of course, Urlacher out for the season. Hillenmeyer takes his position. 4 new starters this week in all for the Bears from week 1. And there is Urlacher, dislocated wrist and out for the year, injured reserve. 3-receiver formation for Pittsburgh with Mike Wallace. Quick pass to Hines Ward, who falls for the first.
Good way to always you play a defense that's aggressive. That's what the Chicago Bears are. So you do these quick passes outside. They're safe for Ben Roethlisberger. It's good against the blitz, and also takes pressure off of his offensive line.
2 tight ends, Heath Miller, who had 8 catches a week ago, and Matt Spaeth. A first down for the Steelers at the 19. Pump fake, deep ball, looking for Holmes, and it's over his head, and Tillman was right there with him.
This is what the Green Bay Packers did last week. Watch Hines Ward inside. You make the decision. Is he open down the field? Ben Roethlisberger chooses to throw it up the field to Santonio Holmes. This is the Green Bay Packers did this against the Chicago Bears. Nice pump fake. Gets it high and long. But pretty good coverage by the corner that time against Santonio Holmes.
2nd and 10. And the toss, Parker. And the Bears running right down the line with him. Nick Roach, the first to get to him. Roach starting for Tino Isamoah, who's out this week with a knee. That rushing last week, what about it?
Well, of course, it was not good against the Tennessee Titans, one of the best run defenses in the NFL. But when you talk about the Steelers, the weak spot that everybody picks on always is the offensive line. Mike Tomlin did not say he was disappointed, or he didn't say he was happy with it. He's encouraged that it will get better, and as the year goes along, they'll run it better. They
had only 1 rushing first down, a longest run of 8 for the whole game. And on 3rd down, Roethlisberger finally unloads it, and he's got Holmes. Ward throws a block, and he's down at the 42-yard line and a first, a gain of 24.
Well, you cannot complain about the offensive line in the opening Thursday night game or this play. Look at the protection. How many times did he fake pump the football that time? About 3. But the defense, just like last week, the longer he holds it, the more it breaks down, and the more wide open the receivers are.
Looked like it was going to Heath Miller.
It was.
Holmes cut right in front of him, makes the grab.
Santonio said, I'm faster. He got to it first.
From the 41. Good protection for Ben. He's got Miller, and he's into Chicago territory before a couple of Bears bring him down. Hillenmeyer, one of those on the tackle, but it picks up 15 to the tight end.
Well, this bunch route, you see 3 receivers right together. It's a staple of the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. Every year they put more pass plays in from that type of formation. Very, very hard for the defense to cover.
Remember, they were in a jam after the penalty on the punt, beginning this drive inside their own 10. Moving it now. Here it is over to Holmes. He's got more open space, and he dives to the 25. Got a nice block again from Hines Ward. Goes for 19.
You know what you like, and is that we talked to Ben Roethlisberger last night, and as you watch the offense, it's just more and more as time goes on, they're building it around him. And everybody keeps talking about, yes, I know the culture and the history of the Steelers is about running the football. But this quarterback, listen, he's special. So they do more things for him, and he rewards them too, because he's productive, comes through in the clutch, throws it well too.
On first down, it's Parker. Good 101 tackle that time by the rookie out of Oregon State, Ofalava.
Well, Jim, I say this. Everybody keeps saying the Steelers, it's defense, run the football. I go, I don't know. I think it's defense and the quarterback. And then we go from there. And the run game, you want it to be good enough to keep the defense honest, so it helps the offensive lineman out so they can protect Ben Roethlisberger easier.
Boy, what a week it's been. Week 2 already with the Jets over the Patriots. Bengals upsetting the Packers. Houston and Tennessee in a wild one. Here we go with the Steelers finding Ward inside the 10, down to the 9. Now the Bears usually come out resilient. They've only given up one opening drive touchdown in their last 28 games, but the Steelers threatening to go over 90 yards. I'd like to welcome those of you who saw the Cincinnati Bengals pull off the surprise up at Lambeau as Cedric Benson rushed for 141 yards, and they held off a late try by the Packers, who got it down to the 10-yard line with seconds to go. Bengals hold on for the big victory. This is Pittsburgh's first series, Jim Nance, Phil Simms. It started back at their own 9-yard line. First and goal from the Chicago 9. The Bears, by the way, first possession 3 and out. That's Willie Parker for 2. What's been the story for those just joining us, Phil, with this Pittsburgh drive?
Well, it's been a little bit of everything, Jim. Running plays to keep the defense honest. Screens. Ben Roethlisberger getting a long time, and the defense broke down like it did last week, and a big completion down the field. But Steelers very versatile, and lots of different formations and different style of plays on the offensive side.
Roethlisberger calls timeout. There you see it again. Only one touchdown allowed in the last 28 games. Roethlisberger trots to the sideline. He's already thrown for 77 yards on this first possession. Two of the icons, Bear football, Butkus and Sayers, here on the field. Butkus back in the 65 draft, the 3rd pick. Sayers, the 4th pick in that first round. Their jerseys were retired later on in the same day. There's Urlacher watching Hillenmeyer playing his position. 2nd and goal. 11th play of this drive coming up for the Steelers. They fake it to Parker, give it instead on the little pass to Miller, and a great tackle for the 2nd time on this series by Ofalava.
Really good job by the defense. Nice formation, fake pitch to one side, screen it back to the right, but the defense doesn't go for it. They stay in position. And Ofalava, that is an excellent tackle. When they're bigger than you, just get down lower than they are.
Look at this 6th rounder out of Oregon State making the play, starting at strong safety. All right, 12th play of the drive, 3rd and goal.
Always be alert for the quarterback draw in 5 wide receiver sets.
Yeah, he likes it too. He's going to throw it instead right at the goal line, and they push him back. That's Mewelde Moore with the catch. He is not in. Inside the 1, 4th down coming.
Good quick throw by Ben Roethlisberger. And Heath Miller really goes in to block for him to create space, so when they catch it, they can get inside and score. But good reaction by the Bear defense.
Well, they got a short yardage situation. They have been woeful in 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Well, not only last week, but all of last year. They were 31st in the league last year. Next to worst on 3rd and 1s or 4th and 1s. They're going to go for it. Inside the 1, 4th and goal. They're going to try to roll out Roethlisberger. Throws back to the end zone. He has his man Spaeth for the touchdown. Roethlisberger, 1-yard toss on 4th down, and what an opening drive by Pittsburgh.
Well, you talk about it. Last week, it just ruined everything about their offense. 3 3rd and 1s. Couldn't pick it up. Stopped drives. So they change up here. That'll get the defense thinking. So when they get that situation again, the running play or situation should be easier for the Steeler offense.
Well, it's a Chicago defense, Phil, that gave up that 50-yarder at the end of the game, the winner, from Rodgers to Jennings. But before that, they'd only allowed 170 yards all game long. Extra point by Reed is good. But on that drive, it took over 8 minutes. It covered 92 yards by Pittsburgh.
Well, good play action fake. The defensive line, they're not fooled. They're all over Ben Roethlisberger. Then the outlet receiver, Spaeth, back of the end zone. Very nice throw by Ben Roethlisberger.
And he got separation from Danielle Manning. Well, welcome those of you who saw the Houston Texans defeat the Tennessee Titans in Nashville behind Matt Schaub's 4 touchdown passes and 357 yards in the air. Texans rebounding from the opening loss against the Jets. And Tennessee lost the heartbreak overtime game in the opener against Pittsburgh. And the Titans fall to 0-2. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms here at Soldier Field. Steelers just drove it 92 yards on their first possession of the game. And look what Roethlisberger did, including the touchdown pass on 4th and less than a yard to go. 4th and goal inside the 1. He hit Matt Spaeth, his backup tight end, for the touchdown. That drive that, again, covered 92 yards equals the Steelers' longest drive all of last season. Short kick. Davis running it out just across the 30.
Well, I'm sure when the Steelers called this play, they figured good fake. Roethlisberger should be able to run into the end zone untouched. But look at the Bear defenders. And when you put a play in like this, in the NFL, they always give you a second option. And I'll guarantee you, Bruce Arians is going, man, I'm glad we talked about throwing that football to Matt Spaeth in case the run is not there in that situation.
So that's what Pittsburgh did, right down the throat of that Chicago defense first time they had it. Bears received the kick, for those of you just joining us, and went 3 and out. There's a pass, Cutler connecting with Greg Olsen, his tight end. Picks up 6, and this Bears offense needs to do something and keep that defense that just got ramrodded.
Well, a couple of things. You know, we come into the game, we talk to players and coaches. We could feel how edgy the Chicago Bears were, the players, the coaches. And then you talk to the Steelers, relaxed, confident, very sure of who they are and what they could do in this game today.
Trying to keep that defense off the field for a while. Forte, nothing there, maybe a yard, is Ke'Aaron Fox, who had a team-high 9 tackles last week, combined with Casey Hampton, setting up 3rd down. Bears looking for their first down.
And Jim, we talked about talking to Lovie Smith, and he has taken over the play calling for the defense. Says, I had time to get back down in the trenches. So he presents the defensive game plan to the team every week. Coach is on the field and calls the plays during the game.
On 3rd and 3, Cutler gets the first down. Oh, ball is out. Incomplete, it's ruled. Olsen did not hold on. Lawrence Timmons knocked it out, stripped it away. So once again, 3 downs and a punt.
Quick passes, afraid of this pass rush by the Steelers. I don't blame them. Good throw, right on target. And Lawrence Timmons, one of those players, he's back. Mike Tomlin says he makes a difference. Like Troy Polamalu, just make big plays to change games around.
Logan waiting for the Maynard boot. First one went 52 yards. This one's going to bounce down to the 21. And Logan, chased by a whole army of Bears, shoved out. There's another flag down here on the special teams after the 42-yard punt. Steelers were penalized on their first return.
Illegal block in the back. Number 55, receiving team. While the ball was in the air, it'll be enforced from the end of the kick.
This time it's called on Patrick Bailey of Pittsburgh. But the Steelers up a quick 7. Second possession for them coming up. The MetLife Blimp providing the aerial coverage here in Chicago, teaming up with CBS and our coverage of the National Football League. It's been a beautiful weekend here in the Windy City, low 70s. Just a little hint of autumn, but it is getting a little chilly, and rain may be on the way before this game is out. Here's Parker, hit behind the line of scrimmage, hit by Lance Briggs, and a loss of a yard.
Well, Lance Briggs loves his defense, and I said, what do you like about it? Well, I like the fact that every play I'm up there and I can either fake blitzing, I'm going to blitz, or I do blitz. It's very aggressive. Of course, any defensive player likes that style of defense, Jim.
Lance Briggs telling us on Friday we need to be desperate. Every week, people talking about, you come home, your home opener, you're already 0-1, and, it's just in a 16-game schedule, you can't build too big of a barrier too early. He says we've got to be desperate every time we play, and that's Parker's longest run of the first 2 games, running behind Trey Essex, and it's good for a dozen.
Yeah, nice change up, 2nd and long. You expect pass, so they run a little inside trap. Trey Essex came on to excellent blocks, and Willie Parker back to 100%. Little problem with his hamstring last week. The style of offense the Steelers run, running backs got to know, play the situations, try to run tough, get that extra yard or 2.
Spade, the touchdown maker, in motion to a slot as Roethlisberger eludes the sack, finds Miller, and Briggs closes in on him, but not until Miller runs out to the 30-yard line, a run of 9.
Boy, in the pocket. Bill Cowher said it earlier today. He's just so big, he can just shed tacklers. Wally Ogungolier said it. He played him a couple years ago. He hit him one time. He goes, wow, that was different hitting him, because you can just tell. I don't know. I'd say he's at least 250 pounds, right, Jim?
He's a big man.
Plays heavy on his feet, really relaxed. That makes his weight settle down even more. That's why it's hard to bring him down with an arm tackle.
Sets up 2nd and 1. Parker easily with the first, and another nice run he rips off for the 2nd straight carry. Another 11 yards for Parker.
You always hear that word patience with running backs, and it is true. It's supposed to go left. The running play is designed to go left. There's nothing there. Oh, look at this. The defense over pursuing. And when they over pursue, good runners see it, they read it, and they make you pay.
Ball kind of juggled at the end, but Parker held on to it. He's up to 30 yards on 7 carries. Final half-minute of the first quarter. One dominated by Pittsburgh. Parker going to lose some yardage this time off that total. Alex Brown read it out. A 5-yard setback.
Well, that's what they needed. This Bears defense, it's built and predicated on those defensive linemen really getting up the field and trying to ruin running plays, and of course get to the quarterback when he's throwing.
Well, the quarter's coming to an end. The Bears did not even pick up a first down. 7-0 Steelers after 1. We'll return to Chicago after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Back to the NFL on CBS. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms here in Chicago, and Ben Roethlisberger on target today so far. He's completed 9 of 10, including his last 8 throws. 1 for a touchdown to Matt Spaeth on 4th and goal from inside the 1. 2nd down, 15. As we begin the 2nd quarter. In middle with Noeldy Moore, and he gets back the 5 yards that were lost on the Parker rush on first down. Roethlisberger taking him 92 yards on that first series.
Well, it's a variety of throws, and that gives the quarterback confidence. He threw under pressure. When they were open down the field, he hit him. And then on the run, he made a tremendous throw for the touchdown.
Remember how hot he was in the second half in overtime against Tennessee? He's now completed 27 of his last 30 passes since halftime last week. Here he is. Third down. He's got another hookup. It's Hines Ward. Inside the 40 and down at the 37. 10 straight completions for Roethlisberger. This one for 21.
It was a blitz by the Chicago Bears, and the Bears play it this way. They're going to send all those people, and then they're going to play a zone behind it, and look at the space. There is nobody around Hines Ward. They just say, we're going to get to the quarterback before a receiver can get to that open spot. And that was one of the plays, one of the blitzes the Steelers were expecting, and they expected to get some good yards against it.
The Steelers offense is already converted on a 3rd and 12 and a 3rd and 11. Roethlisberger hit when he threw it. Look out, he's picked. It's Tillman with the theft. There is a flag down, now a second one. These are two separate fouls. Some 25 yards apart are the flags. Alex Brown hit Roethlisberger on the throw. Tillman picked it off. But we have two flags.
There are two fouls on the play. Holding, 68 offense. That's decline. Illegal block in the back. Number 35. That penalty will be enforced. First down, Chicago.
So the Zachary Bowman infraction will take some of that return back, but a takeaway, the first takeaway of this young season by the Bears. And a look down at the Buckingham Fountain here in Chicago, where they have something to celebrate at last. A pick by homegrown talent Charles Tillman, picking off Roethlisberger. Tillman was a teammate in college at Louisiana Lafayette with Ike Taylor, the corner. He's right now on Hester, corner of the Steelers. Here's Cutler with the completion to Kellen Davis. And the Bears have their first down.
Pressure on the quarterback, that's what it's all about. Make them make decisions faster than they want, and then most importantly, the football doesn't go where you want it to. But Alex Brown on the hit, and you said it, Jim. Lovie Smith must have said the word turnover to us at least 10 times the other day, because the Bears since 2004 have led the NFL in getting turnovers.
Cutler on a rollout, and would have been a second straight catch by Davis, and right in the perfect spot. He dropped it. Update time. James Brown, New York.
Jim and Phil, after spotting San Diego a 7-0 lead, the Ravens come back. Flacco takes him 9 plays, 68 yards. Willis McGahee, a bull run to the end zone, all knotted at 7-all. Back to Jim and Phil.
All right, JB, and how about it? Darren Sproles, 81 yards. Pass played for the first touchdown. That should be a good one. Ravens, Chargers, 7-7. JB will keep us posted. Here, it's a 2nd and 10 for the Bears. After a drop ball, and now back they go to Earl Bennett. Second-year man out of Vanderbilt who had 7 grabs a week ago against Green Bay. Has your fantasy football league website let you down? Well, there's still time to upgrade to the award-winning Fantasy Football Commissioner. A special offer, plus help moving your league, all available. CBSSports.com/upgrade. The best there is. Fantasy football. Looking at an Aaron Smith, who his coach Mike Tomlin told us last night is a player version of Dick LeBeau, the defensive coordinator. You know what you're going to get every game. Over there, 3rd and 3. And what a grab it is. That's Johnny Knox, the rookie out of Abilene Christian, taking up the first down near the 40. James Ferrier had pressure on Cutler. He had to unload it in a hurry. This was some snag for 13.
It's the cross blitz by 2 linebackers inside. Tremendous throw by Jay Cutler, just getting it off. And hey, last week he stopped on a route at the end of the game that maybe cost the Chicago Bears a victory. Not this time. Keeps moving. Jumps up. What a catch.
First down at the 40. the give to Forte. Now they throw it to him. There is a flag. James Harrison was back there in the area of the quarterback. And that's a 5-yard completion.
Holding. Offense. Number 37. 10-yard penalty. First down.
That's coming back. Called on fullback Jason McKee. Thursday, CSI is back for a whole new season. The first 2 minutes, you don't want to miss it. Don't walk into the room late. The season premiere of CSI on America's #1 network.
The Chicago Bear offense, a big concern, and I think a huge key to this game today. Can the running backs and the tackles, can they block James Harrison and Lamar Woodley? Ron Turner, the offensive coordinator, knows it. It's why you see him throw a lot of quick passes.
On a 1st and 20, straight drop back cover. Underneath, Forte, and just gets 5 of it back. He may have bobbled that a bit, Forte. We may be discussing whether or not it was a catch. Okay, it's going to hold up. Still, it's going to be 2nd down and 15. Oh, I don't know. But is it worth taking one of your challenges here for the 5 yards? And still 2nd and 15. Steelers are going to let it go. Cutler. Good catch this time. Boy, Davis dropped the simple one, but makes the tough one this time. Goes for 6. It'll still be 3rd and about 9.
I'll tell you, Jay Cutler threw under a lot of pressure last week, moved around. How about this? 5 guys coming after him, falling backwards on his back foot, and throwing it. And that's, you know, heard a lot of criticism. Threw across the field last week. He threw off his back foot. He makes a lot of plays trying those types of throws. And most of the time, he wins those battles.
Trying to keep the drive going. Trying to get to midfield. Here comes the blitz. It's picked up. Cutler rifles it too high for Knox, who had separation from William Gay. He knows he had a man open.
He did. He also knew he had pressure coming from his right side. The Steelers blitz. They came free. He rushed the throw just a little bit, and by rushing it, makes him throw a little high, and he knows it. When you get at opportunities against the Steelers defense, you can't miss many of them.
Well, they pick up a pair of first downs, their first 2 of the game. Well, they still haven't crossed midfield. Maynard, 3rd punt of this one. And that's a 44-yard punt to Logan, who's tackled at the 24. 7-0 Pittsburgh. 9:40 to go, first half.
You're watching the NFL on CBS, home of Super Bowl 44.
Well, we're back. We know that Joe Frazier could take a good punch. Now we know Andre Frazier can take a kick to the head.
We can hear it. We can hear it from here.
Best starting position of the 3 drives for the Steelers, from the 22. And a sliding grab by Mike Wallace, the rookie out of Ole Miss. Picks up 3.
Well, I'd say so far the Steelers defense, just to go back to it, it's Troy Polamalu is out. But so far they've counted themselves very well.
Pittsburgh 25.
Shard Mendenhall comes in. He's a Chicago area kid. Actually out of Skokie, Illinois. Went to Niles West High School. Last year's #1 pick for the Steelers. It was a short rookie season with a knee injury. Lined up behind Roethlisberger, 2nd down and 7. Going right side, over to Ward. Manning and Tillman. Nope, shove him out of bounds. 3rd and short coming up for Pittsburgh. Well, we talked to Ben Roethlisberger last night, and he really enjoyed, didn't he, Phil, having the extra time off after playing that Thursday night game, talking about the intensity the velocity of the hits you get that first week?
Well, yeah, you're just not used to being hit as a quarterback. Their first game is a big shock to you. So he said those extra days getting over the hits that the Titans put on him really helped him.
3rd and 3. Alex Brown barking out some signals to his defenders, fellow defenders. And a timeout called by Chicago.
Well, frustration by the Bears defense. They don't know what to do. Watch 93. Maguglia says, what? So they call the timeout. Everybody was upset.
But while they took that timeout, the skies have opened up. It's 3rd and 3, and it's raining. Roethlisberger makes the throw to Santonio Holmes for the first out at the 40. Gain of 10.
Yeah, good job just hanging in there. Noelty Moore, good block in the backfield. Another blitz by the Bears. And when you blitz them, let's just say this. When I talk to the Steelers, Ben Roethlisberger, Bruce Arians, they go, well, if they play zone defense, we'll pick them apart. And I go, what about if they go man-to-man? Then we're going to make big plays. So very confident in their passing game coming in here against this Bears defense.
First down, Roethlisberger. Right through the fingertips of Holmes. Tomorrow on CBS, see how it all began. The science, the shades, David Caruso, and the team, the CSI Miami season premiere tomorrow on America's most watched network.
Boy, it's raining hard now.
In a field that already is very spotty, just re-sodded this week after a U2 concert last weekend. More or less destroyed what they had. On 2nd and 10. That is Mendenhall for a loss of a yard. Of course, the Steelers, this is field conditions they're not unaccustomed to. With the weather and all they go through, particularly late season. Hard to grow that grass, but it's coming up here. As you can see, this freshly planted sod.
Tim, to the Steelers, this is a fast field. There's no doubt about it. But I watched it during warm-ups. It doesn't look pretty, but I didn't see divots coming up. I did not see any players slipping either.
You might say after the concert and the start of this game, it's a beautiful day.
I don't get
Pittsburgh. Why don't you borrow my iPod? There's a little procedure penalty going against the Steelers.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Well, the crowd noise, it just makes you anxious because it's not that you're listening for the snap count. You're just going on movement because the Steelers have a silent snap count. Roethlisberger just gives the center a little motion. They time it up, and everybody just tries to go at the same time.
So 3rd and 15. They've already cashed in on a couple of these long situations. Here comes a big-time blitz. Across the middle, ball deflected twice and falls incomplete. Tillman almost had a second interception. Alex Brown was one who got a fingertip on it.
Offside. Defense.
Well,
number 93.
Wouldn't matter.
5-yard penalty.
Jumped.
3rd down.
So the Steelers will get another crack at it. 3rd and 10 it'll be.
It's the perfect defense for the Chicago Bears in a situation like this. A little wind into the quarterback's face. It's pouring rain. You play it safe. You play off 3rd and long. So you blitz. You try to get that turnover. The opportunity was there.
Maguglia trying to pad that sack total. He had 2 last week. Now they back off. Roethlisberger protected. Pass too high. Kevin Payne had a play on it after it sailed over Santonio Holmes.
Yeah, it just came out of the Roethlisberger, his hand, a little funny. And the worst time for quarterbacks when it starts to rain is right now, because the footballs, once they get saturated and really get wet, they're much easier to handle than they are right away. Little slick. That's why the football went high.
And Devin Hester is ready. Backtracking and letting it go. Beautiful job here by the Steelers. Sepulveda, and the ball down by Joe Burnett. 59 yards down at the 2.
Made. Don't miss it Monday.
3-1 yardage. Steelers to Bears. 7-0 on the board. You factor in the numbers of last week up at Green Bay, and the Bears have had 11 first-half drives, and their offense has not produced a point. Adrian Peterson is in the backfield. Fake to him. Now throw it to him and right off his hands. There is a flag. Cutler was hit late, I believe.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 92, defense.
That's James
15-yard
Harrison,
penalty,
the
first down.
defender of the year last year.
Jay Cutler throws it in the flat. Oh, yes, and it's
low.
It's low and late. You see what's going to happen to James Harrison today. Tight end blocks him, running back hits him.
James Harrison, of course, with the longest touchdown in Super Bowl history. He made history on that 100-yard return on the last play of the half last February.
Of course, everybody knows by now. I think you've heard it, and we talked about it yesterday. Wasn't even supposed to be in coverage. He was supposed to blitz. He goes, it just didn't make sense. I know they were going to throw it quick, so I dropped back.
First down Bears. Look out. Oh, wow. Thought Ike Taylor might have a play on that. That was Hester who had to go through his hands. It was some play by Harrison, though, isn't it? He said when he first got the ball in his hands, he said to himself, I'm gone.
I'm going all the way. That's right.
And then all of a sudden, it was like a bunch of killer bees were coming around me, swarming in on me. He said he got down to about the 10. I said, I've gone this far, I might as well take it in. With no time left.
Drop passes. 3 by Chicago, a couple by Pittsburgh.
Oh, an open hole. Adrian Peterson powering ahead for 15 yards. Frank Omiel, the left guard, with a good hole opening block.
Yeah, it is to the right side. You see the guard pulling around, seals it. McKee gets a good kick out block, and the Bears know, no matter what, they've got to keep this defense honest. You worry about pass protection, you got to show them you're willing to run the football, even if you don't have success.
Biggest play by the Bears so far, and on first down, Cutler steps up, flings it open, knocks into Pittsburgh territory, and out of bounds at the 45. That's good for 22.
Jay Cutler in the pocket. Watch this throw. Moving to his left. Throws it back to the right. No, he's not supposed to do it. But Johnny Knox sees that he's covered immediately. Initially breaks back out. And as Johnny Knox, I'm sorry. And as Mike Tomlin said last night to us, this guy is really fast. And you can see it when you're here. We saw it. We watched him getting ready for the game, and we noticed it at practice, too.
Good-looking rookie, isn't he? He's got some kind of speed to burn, too. They say he might even be faster than Hester. From the 45 and on the Pittsburgh side for the first time. He's open. Olsen. Did he hold on long enough? No, that is the hit by Tyrone Carter. And Olsen is dizzy, and Carter is too. My goodness, a nasty collision.
Thanks, Tony.
Both players are going to need some time. We'll be right back. Back at Soldier Field, Tyrone Carter, he's hobbling like he may have pulled his left hamstring. And Greg Olsen taking the dizzying hit, incomplete. And there's Monday now. Remember, now they're on to their third player at strong safety with Troy Polamalu out for a month. Carter sits out at least this play. Second down and 10. Set up screen. Forte backpedals to about the 38. Vicious collision it was.
Well, they're running so fast, and this could have been a penalty because Tyrone Carter leads with the top of his helmet. It's not helmet to helmet. When the receiver's going for the football, you cannot hit him anywhere in that body with your helmet first.
3rd and 3 for the Bears. Good footwork by Cutler, who unleashes it incomplete. There is a flag. He was going for Knox. Looked like for a minute Ferrier might have him for the sack. He stepped aside.
Holding. Defense. Number 94.
Automatic first.
5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
And it happened before he broke the pocket. And really, as we talked about, Lovie Smith says Jay Cutler's movement is just much better than they thought. Top of the screen, 94. Timmons. He tripped him. It could have been incidental tripping, but they probably thought he was pulled down.
Carter remains out. Olsen's back on the field for Chicago. First down carry. Peterson right into a wall for no gain.
You know, Tito, Jim, is it right? We've watched Jay Cutler at Denver. We saw him play Green Bay, and his movement just catches everybody by surprise. They caught his teammates here. They caught the coaches, and he does it, I think, at the pace that allows him to always look down the field as he's moving to throw the football.
You know, Ron Turner and Lovie Smith talking about it on Friday. They knew what kind of arm he had, but they've been surprised by how agile the quarterback they got from the Broncos, just how much he can bring it around the pocket. He's got Knox for a first down, and he is tackled at the 17-yard line.
Boy, just a good mixture of plays by the Chicago Bears offense. Running the football a little bit, some quick screens. Now he drops back, and they get caught up. Two receivers kind of cross, and Gay is not able to get to Knox fast enough.
Well, it's a time you would think you better take advantage of it now while there's this disruption. Not only Polamalu, of course, out as we knew coming in, but his replacement is out, Tyrone Carter.
And what it does, when you're missing players, you have to simplify what you do on the defensive side.
They go gun on first down, and Cutler has Peterson at the 11. That's William Gay coming up for the stick. Gain of 6.
But when you talk about the Steelers defense too, and it's something that just, I don't know what, all of a sudden I just realized it. They have so many older players on that side of the football. Of course, they're coached by Dick LeBeau. It is a complicated defense. They have a lot of specialty players, especially their defensive linemen, and they know the system, and they just keep working it. They survive, and that's why there's Dick LeBeau. That's why they can overcome injuries and substitutions.
2nd and 4, first threat of the day by the Bears. Cutler to the end zone. Oh, and he slipped. That was Olsen. Would have been a touchdown. 2-minute warning in Chicago.
CBS.
Watch Greg Olsen's left foot as he goes to the ground. It's not there. You see how it turns, and it makes him slip as he's going to get the football, which would have been a touchdown.
Tried to make one last long stride for separation, and he slipped, setting up 3rd and 3 from the Pittsburgh 11. Cutler looks left, goes left. Peterson stays up long enough to pick up the first, right on the mark. That was Ike Taylor who came up to hit him low and try to stop him short of the first. Peterson having a good series here for the Bears.
Yeah, he is, and that's knowing the situation. Of course, being tough. And the Pittsburgh corners, they're very good tacklers. Ike Taylor hit him square below the waist, but as you said, Adrian Peterson able to pick up a big first down.
So Peterson stays out there, not Forte. First and goal to go. It's Peterson. Squeezes out a yard. The Pittsburgh defense that was best in the league last year in keeping you off the board. Fewest points allowed. They were almost number one in every category.
Jim, they have everything you need on defense to win all those categories like they did. They're fast, they're strong, they can rush the passer out of just 4 people. They give you unique blitzes. And of course, Troy Polamalu, when he's in there, he covers up a lot of mistakes too.
They're also number 1 in the league in red zone defense. Forte comes out to the right side, second and goal. Cutler. Knocked back for a yard loss, and that's Tyrone Carter, who just came back and makes the play. What a sack.
What a job by Pittsburgh's defense. Staying in place, never panicking. Nobody open. Cutler has to take the sack.
Timeout, Bears. So the Steelers trying to clamp down here with 23 seconds to go, and they have that timeout, by the way, called by Mike Tomlin and the Steelers.
Yeah, wants to reorganize, make sure they understand the situation that's coming up.
What do you look for here, Phil?
Well, if you spread the defense out, I always like inside receivers doing a double move. In other words, make a move around the goal line and go to the back of the end zone.
That'll be like Hester here in the right slot. Third and goal.
There it was.
Cutler throws, and it's caught for a touchdown. Kellen Davis.
What a good job by Jay Cutler. He looked at Greg Olsen first. He was covered, and then he comes back. And the fact that he came back to the other tight end second, that allowed him to get open because the defenders were watching Jay Cutler look left.
Robbie Gould to tie the game with 19 seconds to go in the half. The first points produced this season in the first half by the Chicago offense. A 97-yard drive for a touchdown.
GM, may the best car win.
Coming up, the Sprint halftime report. JB, Dan, Boomer, and Coach Cowher. All the scores and highlights and recaps from the early games coming up. Sprint halftime report. Well, the Bears offense has been awakened. They kept it for some 6 minutes, and it ends up in the hands of the second-year man out of Michigan State, Kellen Davis, 5th-round pick a year ago. And that is the longest drive, 97 yards, allowed by the Steelers in 3 years. Short kick comes to Muwaldy Moore. And we'll see what Ben wants to do with it with 13 seconds to go, starting at the 34.
Well, Jim, let's look at the touchdown. Watch Jay Cutler look to the left. He has a slant goal by Greg Olsen. He's covered. He moves to his right, off balance, and fires it in there. And the fact that he looked left, the defenders were watching his eyes, and that allowed Davis to be open. Well, when you score a touchdown, you want a souvenir. 87.
And a knee, and halftime on the way. 7-7 game here at Soldier Field. Coming up, Sprint halftime report. JB, Dan, Boomer, and Coach Cowher. All the scores and highlights. First half is complete in Chicago. 7-7 Steelers Bears back after this message and a word from your local station.
CBS Sports presents the Sprint Halftime Report. This is the NFL Now, only from Sprint, only on the Now Network.
And welcome back to our New York studios and the Sprint Halftime Report. I'm James Brown, along with my guys Dan, Coach, and Boomer. At the half, all knotted at 7.
You know, it's all right, JB. This is why they got Jay Cutler, because Jay Cutler came back. He's an elite quarterback. We said it before. Came off 4 interceptions last week. He has not turned the football over, has taken what the defense has given him and put a thread of the needle for that touchdown pass. This is the kind of game that the Buffalo Bills thought they were going to get when they got Jay Cutler.
Chicago Bears.
Chicago Bears,
right,
no doubt.
All right, now we move along to the Ravens and the Chargers. Dan.
Hey, the Baltimore Ravens have been running the football in San Diego. Willis McGahee, get in there. That's his second touchdown of the afternoon.
Hey, guys, look at this. Shannon Sharp delivered the game ball. Congratulations to Shannon. He's going into the Hall of Fame, the Ring of Honor there in Denver. And Kyle Orton playing pretty good. It's not been a real exciting game, but right here is a touchdown pass. They're leading with about 1:30 to go in the second quarter, 10-6.
Well, Byron Leftwich has got 2 touchdowns. One he's thrown for, and another one was picked off by Dante Whitner, taken all the way back. Piscatelli returned a fumble return from Fred Jackson, and we get a late score from Tampa Bay in this game, 20-14 at the half.
Hey, Coach Singletary, got to love this. Look, right up the middle. This guy's underrated back. He's one of the best backs in the league. Frank Gore, he goes 79 yards, almost gets caught, but he has 126 yards on the afternoon on 11 attempts.
Hey, guys, what a day for Mark Sanchez in the second half. He was 11 of 17, 148 yards, and a touchdown pass to Dustin Keller. How about the Jet defense? Second week in a row, no touchdowns against them. Tom Brady was harassed often by the blitz, as you can see right here. And let's hear from Coach Belichick and Mark Sanchez after the game.
Well, I think everybody played hard, and I think that we had our moments. I mean, it was a competitive game, but we just didn't make enough plays to win, and that's, like I said, that starts with me and involves everybody that was, goes for everybody that was involved in the game. Players, assistant coaches, we just collectively we didn't do good enough job. That's all there is to it.
You know what? This is a huge win for this team, and we changed things at halftime. Just opened things up and really came out to play within ourselves and had a great half. There's still a lot of mistakes to clean up, but we'll take this win.
So Palmer had an up-and-down day. 2 interceptions led to touchdowns for Green Bay, but then he came back and threw 3 touchdown passes, including this one. Chad Ochocinco of Cincinnati goes into Green Bay and upsets the Packers.
Hey, and Brett Favre on the day. Solid day, 23 of 27, 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. Adrian Peterson, 92 yards rushing as Minnesota handles Detroit.
And inept offense out of Oakland most of the day is capped off on this 9-play, 61-yard drive at the end of the game by Darren McFadden, and Oakland goes into Kansas City and beats them.
Bunch of points from the Tennessee Titans and the Texans. Matt Schaub, 4 touchdowns on the day, 307 yards as Houston wins.
Jacksonville had 3 turnovers, and Kurt Warner 24-26 and 2 touchdowns, and they bounced back from last week's loss 31-17 over Jacksonville.
Jason Campbell was 23 of 35, 242 yards, no touchdowns. Sean Squeezem by virtue of 3 field goals. Washington wins over St. Louis 9-7.
And the Saints are scoring some points, and Drew Brees, look out. He's 24 of 33, 3 touchdowns. That's 9 touchdowns on the year for Drew Brees.
And how about Matt Ryan? 3 touchdowns. Michael turned over 100 yards, and the Atlanta Falcons go to 2-0, and Carolina drops to 0-2.
All right, let's take you back out to Chicago for the second half of Pittsburgh at Chicago.
Vince Vaughn cheering on the Bears. 7-7. Second half coming up, and a reminder this game is brought to you in high definition here on CBS. We had a rather significant rain shower roll through here in the second quarter, but that's escaped the area. Steelers will be receiving the second half kick. Two touchdowns in the game, both coming at the end of long drives. 92-yard drive by Pittsburgh, 97 yards by the Bears. And they kick this one through the end zone away from Logan, so they'll have the touchback at the 20-yard line. You know, Phil Simms, the way that game started with the way Pittsburgh drove right down the field, you might have thought that this might be a big Pittsburgh lead at halftime. Instead, all tied.
Yeah, you say look out, you know, Chicago Bears. But Chicago Bears, what they did in the first half that was impressive, they protected Jay Cutler. He didn't get hit much. You give him time. He made throws, very good decisions. And on the other side, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they got to be worried. They go, wow, we got 2 really good outside pass rushers, and they're not getting to Jay Cutler. So that's just, to me, that's the most interesting facet of the game I want to watch here in the second half.
Snap of the third quarter. It's going to be a running play with Parker. He's going to try to back his way to the line of scrimmage. We'll call it no gain. First half numbers, really all the offense was going when teams were going from our left to right. You see the first quarter for Pittsburgh, 119 yards in that direction, 119 in that direction for the Bears. Second quarter. A turnover, and that was the interception. Tillman off a Roethlisberger throw. Second down and 10. Quick pass incomplete. Looking for Holmes. The Steelers' touchdown came on a 4th and goal to go from the 1. And then the Bears in the last minute of the first half, they hit a tight end as well for a touchdown. So backup tight ends with the game's 2 touchdowns. After that hot start, you see Roethlisberger 3 of his last 7, including the interception. Alex Brown trying to point to a Steeler who violated something, but no flag. Trying to load it up. Roethlisberger almost intercepted. Hillenmeyer. Hunter Hillenmeyer had a hand on it.
A good fake blitz by the Bears. Excellent protection for Ben Roethlisberger. The receiver down the middle of the field is wide open, but it doesn't come out of Roethlisberger's hand cleanly. So it comes lower than he expected. You could see the nose of the ball was down. That's why they knocked it down.
And there's the punt by Sepulveda. Again, it's a deep one, but Hester has a chance to run it back to the 35. So good starting point coming for the Bears. 55-yard boot, 10-yard return, 7-7, third quarter.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
Let's go back and watch Jay Cutler's touchdown throw with CBS eye vision as he looks to the left. The double move by Greg Olsen. Look at the defenders to the right. They are looking at Jay Cutler, and that allows Davis to get right to the edge of the end zone and score the touchdown.
Loving that eye vision. I don't know how you do that. Take all those players off the field that fast.
I got a lot of power, man.
You got the juice.
The problem is it doesn't work up here.
You'd like to remove one?
No.
Oh, okay. Just want to make sure. From the 35. Cutler with Woodley on him, and a wobbler almost intercepted by Ike Taylor. Woodley, some kind of influence on that pass. Questionable throw by Cutler.
This is what I expected to see more of. How about that? Chris Williams, big offensive tackle. Lamar Woodley, an outside linebacker, just overpowers him. And Jay Cutler, it's really a good job of getting rid of the football, but when you're under duress like that, you can't control where it goes.
Trying to hit Johnny Knox. Again, Woodley almost had the sack. Cutler was not sacked in that first half. Delay give, and that is Forte, who is having yet another quiet game as he did last Sunday. Gain of a yard.
Well, doesn't it make sense? I kind of really started out the game saying this defense is just like Green Bay's. They run the same scheme. Dom Capers, defensive coordinator, Green Bay, he came out of this years ago, coached the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and they run the same type of fronts, blitzes, very hard to run against.
So third down coming for Chicago, needing to get to the 45 to move the sticks. Quickly, again, Woodley, along with Timmons, those two gave Cutler no chance in a 3-and-out. Oh, there's a late flag here. A late flag. What's it going to be here, Phil?
Intentional grounding.
Intentional grounding. Quarterback also lost him down. Fourth down.
When the quarterback is in the pocket from tackle to tackle, and all he is doing is throwing the football strictly just to avoid the sack, which he was there, then that's an easy call. That's intentional grounding.
Maynard Good first half performance. Punt it to Logan, who made quite an impression on Mike Tomlin and the Steeler coaching staff during the preseason to make this roster. This kid has breakout speed, takes it at the 30. And a swarm meets him at the 34 with a flag. 42-yard boot.
Illegal block in the back. Number 24, receiving team.
Third time in this game now, the punt return team for the Steelers have been flagged. Both teams have had one possession in the second half. Both 3 and out. Game tied in Chicago.
It's on. Sony Bravia HD TV. High definition. It's in Sony's DNA. And by the new stuffed crust pan pizza from Pizza Hut. America's favorite for pizza, pasta, and wings.
So after a penalty on the return, Pittsburgh commences from the 21. And they call on Willie Parker. Hunter Hillenmeyer makes the stick. He's made a couple of plays here, and again under a spotlight here, taking the place of Urlacher. It's not too late to sign up for the only free fantasy league that is the league. Live scoring video and more. Plus, you can win a trip to the Super Bowl. NFL.com. How about his play so far, Phil?
Well, he's done very well, Jim, and I'll explain it to everybody. The Bears are such an aggressive defense. They blitz a lot. It's not like in years past where the middle linebacker was such a vital part of zone coverage in the pass game and making the tackles in the run game. 2nd and 8.
Roethlisberger, and no. Trying to sweep it off the ground was Hines Ward. Ward, who had 4 catches in that first half for 44 yards.
You know, to me, the game has changed a little bit. The throwers, the quarterbacks, the receivers have gotten so good. The schemes, they can find open spaces. So you got to challenge offenses. You got to get up there and blitz them and play more man-to-man. And make quarterbacks make faster decisions and pinpoint throws.
Roethlisberger has misfired on his last 5 attempts. They have not had a first down since the 12-minute mark of the second quarter. He's looking long. Now all kinds of time. Hits Mwelde Moore. And that's good at the pin on the spot here. I believe he has it. Moore does indeed. This game featuring the top 2 all-time rushers in Tulane University history. Moore, number 1. Forte, number 2. By about 100 yards.
Really good job. Waited as long as he could to go down the field and then finds that outlet receiver. And look down the field. Nobody's open. Linebackers are back. But just like he did last week. The longer he waits, the more the defense drops back. So when he drops it off short, they're able to pick up those first downs. You know, just watching the Bear defense too, Jim. If you're a quarterback, it almost makes me nervous. Every play, everybody is up there faking like they're going to blitz. So it's hard to get a feel for what they're going to do to you down to down.
From the 31. Roethlisberger sideline and through the hands. Holmes has dropped a couple today. Well, as a Bears defense, Phil, that at the beginning of this game was very unsettled and unsure. Gave up a 92-yard drive in the first minutes of this game. 8 minutes, actually. The Steelers kept it, but what's happened since? They've adjusted and certainly gotten the better of it since. Let's check out 2nd down. 31 with Parker split wide to the right. And that's to Spaeth. He had the touchdown catch. Well, I've been watching Polamalu. The intensity, even out of uniform, it's apparent. The same thing for Urlacher.
Yeah, I like what they're doing.
Well, he's kind of laughing it up this time, but I saw him chewing on his nails and a moment earlier.
Well, we saw him during one timeout. He was more than chewing on. He was chewing on some players. You remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you guys doing? It was so I do like that. Support your teammates, and they're such good players and smart. They can give information to their teammates that can help them out there on the field.
3rd and 2. They seal the pocket for a while, and then they take him down. Roethlisberger decked. Alex Brown and Anthony Adams forced the punt, sacking Roethlisberger for the first time today.
Well, it finally collapsed, but this is not an offensive line sack. This is strictly on the quarterback. That's how he makes so many plays. He holds on to it. Look at that. Nobody open down the field to throw to.
Sepulveda showing a big leg so far. This one travels 48 yards, and Hester just a yard return. Andre Frazier made a couple of hits on special teams today. Bears defense come alive. Bears defense with a sack, forcing a punt. Jay Cutler and company back on the field. Cutler, you would have thought, entrenched in Denver for a career. Came out of the season last year, met with Coach Shanahan, felt good about the direction of the franchise. Shanahan fired just a couple of days later. There's Cutler flinging it. And having a productive day so far is Kellen Davis. But, of course, the coaching change was made. Josh McDaniels brought in. Cutler found out that they were talking about making a deal to get Matt Castle, and he wanted out. Felt betrayed. Ended up getting dealt here for Kyle Orton. 2 1s, a 3 and a 5. And how about the timing for him getting in the flow of things in Chicago?
Well, he said all season he was trying to play catch up because he missed their first camp, and he spent all summer with the receivers just trying to get used to the system, get used to them, and as we have found out, it takes time.
68 offense, 5-yard penalty.
A little timing issue here, and you know, one other thing he had to make amends on, or I guess maybe Ron Turner did, his offensive coordinator, had to clear the air a little bit about an old scholarship offer.
Yeah, Ron Turner, head coach at Illinois at the time.
Cutler was talking to one of his assistants. He thought he'd been offered a scholarship to Illinois, and Turner kind of was out of the mix on that. Picked him up at the airport, said, hey, did we or did we not offer you a scholarship? I don't want any hard feelings. 2nd down run. Very well sealed as Forte, again, unable to wiggle free.
Jim, to finish it up, Ron Turner was like, because he's been here all of his life. You were the head coach at Illinois. Jay Cutler is in your area, and he ends up going to Vanderbilt. Well, Ron Turner never offered him the scholarship himself, so that eliminated some tension right away in their relationship.
And he's sending down a play to his quarterback. And 3rd down and 8. And again, movement by the Bears. Roberto Garza.
Offense, number 63. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Roberto will back him up another 5 yards. And with the false start, nothing's happening so far here in the first 6 minutes of the second half. Anyway, Jay Cutler from Santa Claus, Indiana, but his family had ties even closer to the Chicago area, up in Chesterton. His parents had moved back there, and they live only about 45 minutes away from the Windy City, across the state line past Gary. It's all worked out quite well for the team that he followed in his youth. Another short pass to Bennett. Walker's out in front. He's got the first down. Orlando Pace helping create the avenue for Earl Bennett.
It's a blitz look by the Steelers. So many teams are doing this now. So when you try to play a soft zone behind the blitz, they're throwing these quick screens, and look what happens. All the linemen are able to get out, and who is going to get in the way of 3 big offensive linemen? Look at that. Olin Kreutz, Omiel, you said it, Orlando Pace. Excellent play call.
Second catch for Bennett, picks up 15 on a 3rd and 13. Cutler now plants the feet, fires it. Knox makes the catch, then dropped it when he hit the ground. That's going to be incomplete. That's again the rule you saw last week on that Oakland-San Diego game. To so many may have misinterpreted. You got to take it to the ground and hold on to the catch for it to be a catch.
Yes, you do. If you're taken to the ground, you got to basically get up with it.
That's Ryan Clark with the hit.
And that is incomplete. No question. Don't challenge it. Watch Devin Hester go across the field. He's open. The play is designed to throw it to him deep. And you could hear everybody in the stadium going,
yeah, the booing.
Because they thought he was going to be, Cutler was going to throw a long pass for a touchdown.
I think they also think Lovey should throw the red flag because they don't understand the rule. So they're wanting a challenge, but the Bears know better. And that is Forte falling at the 40 for a gain of 5. After scandal tears her life apart, how will the good wife put it back together? Emmy winner Juliana Margulies stars, and it all premieres Tuesday on America's most watched network. Forte, 5 carries, 10 yards. This is a player who had the highest percentage of his team's offense in the whole league last year as a rookie. Accounted for 36% of his team's offense. Better than anyone, including Adrian Peterson. In the slot now, he's moved on that left side. The pass was going to him, but it was deflected by William Gay, or was it Lawrence Timmons? Both of them influencing the play.
That's where you got to call a timeout or change the play. Even I knew from up here, the Steelers had it overloaded on one side to Jay Cutler's left, and there was no way you were going to make a play. Steelers showing some new looks in the second half. Confused Chicago both series.
Maynard and Sepulveda, the 2 punters, playing key roles here in this chess match, this field position game. It's a 49-yard punt. Logan has a hole, and he's got about a 20-yard return. 7-7. It remains inside 7. Are we looking at the skyline of a future Olympic city? 2016, we'll know in 12 days. It'll be the Chicago, Rio, Madrid, or Tokyo. Steelers involved in yet another slugfest like they were 10 days ago. And on first down, Roethlisberger goes underneath and falling back as Mendenhall getting back up. And he's got some room on the right side. Flag is thrown. Never would have imagined he could have made something out of that. Roethlisberger threw a block.
That could be the penalty.
He's hitting Hillenmeyer. Roethlisberger was.
There's no foul for a low block. It was beyond 5 yards.
So the 13-yard run or after catch holds up.
Well, again, just how long and what an outlet throw. And to have the presence of mind to reverse field. But watch the block by Ben Roethlisberger. Since it was at least 5 yards down the field, that's why it was not a penalty.
Pretty good block. We've seen him tackle Nick Harper years ago in a playoff game. Now we've seen him block the middle linebacker for the Bears, who's throwing touchdowns. That's a common occurrence. That's Danielle Manning with a tackle for no gain.
Well, Jim, this game is exactly what we thought it would be. 2 good defenses. And when you're good on defense, that means you have speed. And speed makes plays in the NFL.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 97, defense. 15-yard penalty.
Ooh, that's a big one.
First down.
On Mark Anderson. That'll move the ball to the Chicago side. Locked up with Heath Miller. Oh, he got 2 for 1. Actually shoved Butch Hanna, also the umpire, by accident.
Well, you got to know if you do something like that, it's going to be seen. 15 yards. Steelers are 1 first down away from trying to field goal.
Mendenhall strides free inside the 30. Taken off past Payne. Payne got him down inside the 5. Rashard Mendenhall in only his 6th career game in the league after his shortened rookie season goes for 39 yards.
Oh, what a good job. Willie Colon on the right side just pushes everything down, and it allows Rashard Mendenhall to come right up in there. Oh, and Kamo Atu once again, that's a couple big-time blocks by him. So push it down inside. The left guard pulls out, kicks it out. Afalava has no chance. And Rashard Mendenhall, look out. They think he's going to develop and get a good role in this running game for the Steelers as the year goes along.
Showed a lot right there, didn't he? Timeout Pittsburgh. After a 39-yard run by Mendenhall, the longest play of the day. Mendenhall setting up the Steelers.
Jim, you talked about it earlier. Short yardage running. I believe Rashard Mendenhall is going to end up being that running back, especially in these short yardage goal line situations.
So they took the timeout. They got him back in there. It was punted before the timeout. And a little bootleg. Roethlisberger dives in for the touchdown. Big Ben from 2 yards away.
Well, they're doing everything they can to help this short yardage running situations twice today. Good fakes, rolling the quarterback out to the right, this time to the left, and he makes a good decision right now to go, and then sees he can get there by diving over. Terrific play by Ben Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger's first ever visit to Soldier Field. Second time in his life he's been to Chicago. He brought his linemen here last year. On a weekend they had free after a Thursday night game. There's the extra point. There's a flag.
You know, when I played, you took your linemen out to the local restaurant. Now they put them on planes and take them to other cities.
Yeah. Defense.
That's what he
Number
did.
33. Kick is good. 5-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Roethlisberger picks up the touchdown after picking up the tab the last time he came to Chicago. 14-7, Steelers back in front.
Wait a minute.
He got rid of the ball, Vern.
He must have, and completed it to somebody.
One of the most unforgettable games ever. Vern Lundquist was there to call it. Fog Bowl on New Year's Eve.
What was that last line? He completed it to somebody?
That's the best you could do. All the cameras were moved down to the sideline because they were worthless up high in the usual play-by-play position. They kick off from the 35 after the penalty on the PAT. Johnny Knox picks it up, and he's got some room if he can get to the outside. Watch this speed. There is a flag. It's coming back. There's a flag back at the 25-yard line. It's going to be about a 50-yard penalty, if you will.
Ten-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
Afalava, the rookie, flag for that one.
Here he comes into the picture. He grabs the jersey. That's what does it. He had the angle. This guy was never going to make the play. Mundy wasn't going to be able to get off that block to get the tackle.
Actually ends up being an expense of 42 yards difference.
But boy, you can see the speed of Johnny Knox, the quick feet, able to get out of tight situations. Him, Devin Hester.
Phil, the Bears have more penalty yards this quarter than offensive yards. Back at the 13, down 7. Cutler. That's Forte's fourth catch. Goes for 9. Tyrone Carter gets him by the ankles.
I was going to say, though, Jim, you go, but by the time you go Johnny Knox, Devin Hester, you got Greg Olsen at tight end, you got Matt Forte, Earl Bennett, a wide receiver. Don't think the Chicago Bears need more receivers or anything like that. They have the speed and the talent to get this done with the group they have here now.
Yeah, Lovie Smith was kind of defending that thought this week, telling people, hey, we do have weapons, and it will come together. Here is Forte picking up the first.
Made a great point. How many weapons do you need? You've got an elite running back, an elite tight end, elite quarterback, And Devin Hester, just a playmaker, which they've learned to get the football to in a lot of different situations. Just going to get, the more you get in there sometimes, you just make people unhappy.
You got some return threats, obviously, with Hester now on punt returns. Manning was tops last year kickoff returns in the NFC. Here's Hester wide to the left. It's been a rather quiet day for him to this point. First down, though, from the 25. Cutler. Oh, you could feel the presence of James Harrison.
That's what it was. James Harrison he created it all. That's what a outstanding pass rusher does for his teammates. He gives them lanes and opportunities to make plays. Orlando Pace just cannot stay with him, and when Cutler steps up, look at all the defenders waiting on him.
Look at Harrison never giving up on this play.
Well, there you go. Never giving up, right?
Never give up. That's the title of a new book. And that's coming out here in a few weeks by James Harrison about his life story. He did tell us one thing people learn from it. A lot of people think I'm mean. They're going to find out I do have a soft side. Hester. Waited patiently and only picked up a yard. So 3rd and long coming up.
Well, I don't think he wanted you to tell everybody it's his soft side.
Well, sensitive side.
Sensitive, maybe.
Carrying side.
We talked about this, though. Outside screens, the speed, the 3-4 defense, an extra guy standing up, and you can just tell. That's how they make these tackles so fast that they don't give up any extra yards after the catch.
They'll need 13 for the first. It's starting to rain again. You say Cutler's one quarterback that probably the rain doesn't affect his throwing, huh?
I've never seen the wind, the cold, or the rain, anything really affect the way he throws it. His arm stays consistent. He just keeps letting it go.
They go draw. And Forte hurdles out of bounds. And they're unhappy here, the patrons in Chicago. After a 5-yard gain, and the punting unit comes back out.
You know what that's called? It's called managing the game. Ron Turner, Lovie Smith, they don't like the way it's going. The Steelers are getting more aggressive. The blitzes, they're getting to the quarterback. So there's a long way to go. See if you get lucky on a draw play, punt it, and let's start again.
Maynard, who last year tied for the league in forcing fair catches, sends one down. It will be returned by Logan. Got past 3 Bears. Tries to high step past Adrian Peterson, who holds on. 46-yard punt, 9-yard run back. And Tuesday, after NCIS, see why critics call NCIS Los Angeles one of the camp men in this series of the fall. Chris O'Donnell and LL Cool J on America's #1 network.
You know, you see Logan returning those kicks. What did Mike Tomlin tell us last night? I gave him one chance.
Against Washington preseason.
One game, and he did really well, and he goes, all right, I'll give him one more. So that's how tight it is for guys trying to make rosters in the NFL.
He had 2 returns past the 50 against Washington. And here's the running play with Willie Parker, and they're starting now to shred that Chicago defense. That's 13 yards for Parker.
Yeah, the right side again. They found where they want to run the football. Trey Essex, nice block down again. Man, excellent job pulling through by Heath Miller. Came out to one more time. So the Steelers, not a lot of teams do that anymore. They move their linemen, they trap and they pull. A lot of teams in the NFL, everybody just stays together and they run this zone blocking. Not the Steelers. Been doing this for about 30 years.
They've run for 63 yards in this quarter. It has a minute and 20 to go, and the rain is intense. From midfield with a slippage, and as Parker with Briggs holding down the position, holding him to a yard. Well, Pittsburgh last week became yet the latest Super Bowl champion to open up the season with a win. It's happened now 10 consecutive years. The defending champions opened week 1 with a win, but the second week they struggled, including the last time the Steelers won the Super Bowl a few years ago. They won the opener, lost to Jacksonville the second week. But they're up in this one. Second down and 9 from the 49, and that was intended for Miller. Meanwhile, Chicago with its home opener today, and we talked earlier about desperate teams after they lose their first game, they come home not trying to fall into that big hole so hard to climb out of. 0-2.
Well, 3 teams last year went to the playoffs starting 0-2, and we saw by the results so far today around the NFL. Look, the NFL season, I always say this, it's 5 seasons. It goes up and down.
Yep. But that 3 teams last year was statistically unusual. Have that many. 3rd and 9. Roethlisberger, there's his man. That's Holmes climbing up for it, and he's down at the 26. Holmes, who last week had 9 catches for 131 yards and a touchdown, numbers that were identical to his numbers in the Super Bowl when he was the MVP.
Top of your screen just squares it in. The linebackers, Hunter Hillenmeyer, not able to get over there quick enough. He's deep enough, but the soft spot is to the right side and deep. And Ben Roethlisberger once again looked right, and that opened up the hole over the middle for Santonio Holmes.
We're going to go to the 4th quarter with the Steelers driving and leading 14-7. We're back after this message and a word from your local station. You are watching
something better.
LL Cool J. LL Cool J. That's fun to say.
Pittsburgh with a touchdown in the 1st quarter. Bears tied it in the 2nd. Steelers with a touchdown in the 3rd. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms on the scene here at Soldier Field. We start the 4th quarter, and the Steelers, off the big pass play to Holmes, are set up at the Chicago 26. That's Parker shaking off the first hit and taking it 6 yards. Got away from Agunlier.
Well, they have found what they want to do, Jim. If you noticed, all these good runs, they're coming to the right side. And they're just blocking them down, and they're pulling guys around. It's about the 4th time they've run the same play. And if you want to be a good running football team, your wide receivers better do it inside, coming down and getting those blocks, and going down the field and blocking for the running backs, too.
There's Hines Ward, considered by many to be the best blocking wide receiver in the game. He's on a wing to the right, 2nd down and 4. They go left, slant. It's Holmes. Takes it to the 11, 1st down.
You know, it's just so well done by Ben Roethlisberger. The blitz came up right by the center. He waited to make sure the offensive line knew, okay, there they are. And it was a running play, could have been to the right, not sure. It could have been a running play to the right. And they have these little backside throws. If you want to throw that quick route to the left, you can do that instead of handing it off.
They didn't give him the crawl, the extra 2 yards, so it's back at the 13 with a new set of downs. 3 tight ends. And they're going to throw. It's Parker with Griggs wrapping him up at the 10. Gain of 3.
You know, experience, talent. When you watch this Steeler offense, you just realize, we heard it last year, Tim, when Ben Roethlisberger would say, look, this offense, I get a lot of say in what we do. They let me, what did he say to us last night? He called most of the plays in the 4th quarter and the overtime last week against the Tennessee Titans. And it looks that he's so comfortable and gets from one receiver to the next so easy and fast.
And he knows how to improvise when he's in a pinch. 2nd down and 7. Dragged down by Alex Brown. Willie Parker set back 3, and he gives it the Gator clap again, the former Florida player. Can they hold the Steelers to just a field goal? And again, 12 and a half to go in the game.
Top of your screen, they just overload the side. When you do that, you're putting pressure on your defense. You got to chase it down from behind. The front side held up, made Willie Parker look to where he's going to go. And when he's trying to make that decision, they caught it from behind.
Or can they force a turnover in the red zone? They got a takeaway in that first half. Didn't have one last Sunday night. Roethlisberger. That's going down as a sack. He was waiting for the whistle. Standing upright at the 20. And Alex Brown in on that play as well.
It looks like they're going to have it picked up. And they do. But he's trying to throw the football quick. There's nothing there. Well, it was there. If he'd have just kind of stepped up in the pocket, easy for me to say, could have been a touchdown out in the left flat.
Jeff Reed, first ever attempt at Soldier Field on a messy field. Now back up to 38 yards with a 10-point lead. The kick is no good. An empty trip for the Steelers. Alex Brown makes 2 plays to force that kick back. A tackle for a loss and a sack, and it's still a 1-possession game.
Jeff Reed on the kick. Good hold, good spot. Field conditions, I don't think bothered it. Just got a little anxious maybe and pulls it.
How does a big man do that? Anthony Adams rolling off the field, but that's a huge miss.
I'll tell you how he does it. That's why he's playing in the NFL.
Yeah.
He's got a little athletic ability. At 325 can do a little forward roll.
47 of his last 48 Reed had made inside the 40 until that miss there. High toss over to Knox. Trying to get him a running start to let out that speed. Goes for 7. Hampton comes over to make the hit. Wednesdays on Showtime. Emmy Award winning Inside the NFL returns with Phil, JB, Chris, Warren Sapp. Longest running show on cable. Inside the NFL Wednesdays on Showtime. Mike Lombardi coming up this week. So will that missed field goal change the momentum back as the rain, it's getting even a little more intensified. 2nd and 3. Forte. He's knocked back for a yard loss by Ferrier. We've got an update. James Brown has it in New York.
Hey, Jim and Phil, Ravens capitalized on a San Diego Phillip Rivers pick. 4 plays, 22 yards. Flacco to Todd Heap for the 9-yard strike. 28-16 late in the 3rd. Boy, Baltimore with some offense to go with that D. Back to Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
All right, JB, we saw signs of it last week, too, from the Ravens in their win against Kansas City. Flacco just another year experienced. McGahee with 2 touchdowns today.
Yeah, saw it in the preseason. Looks quicker, more decisive, and able to take advantage of his arm even more.
Here it's 3rd and 3 from the gun. Cutler gets it to Hester. 2 athletic plays, one by Cutler, the other by Hester to close in on that. Pick up 12 and a first.
Yeah, really tremendous job by Jay Cutler. And the blitzer comes free. It's James Ferrier. And Jay Cutler, excellent thrower on the run, always keeps his eyes down the field. And Devin Hester, they want an improvement at the receiver position for him from last year to this year.
What do you see? What's the difference?
Just better route runner, real sure of what he's doing, and just watching him in practice doing sharp routes and doing a lot of good double moves.
And first down play action.
Like this.
Down the field to Olsen, and there's that collision again with Carter. But it goes for a big gain of 29 yards, and they're set up at the Pittsburgh 23.
It's the Denver play. They used to do it a lot. The quarterback goes to his right, and usually you expect the tight end to go across the field, but look, he changes and goes up the middle. The defenders do not go with him. Oh, what a job by Greg Olsen.
Well, Olsen almost lost that ball.
Well, he could see the hit coming.
Yep.
Excellent play. Well designed. Very unusual, even for the NFL.
Forte split out wide to the right. First down, Chicago. Cutler zings it down to the 15. And that's Kellen Davis with another grab, a gain of 8. Cutler over 200 yards and a touchdown, no picks. After 4 a week ago, he said he'd never thrown forward any level.
Well, and then I asked him, did you ever hesitate making a decision and throwing the football after you started throwing those interceptions? And he looked at us and smirked and goes, no. And I could tell, I know it. I saw him and I watched the game very closely. He just kept letting it fly.
2nd and 2. And another completion to Olsen. Cutler's 5 for 5 on this drive.
He's really tough to sack when you blitz him and he's in the shotgun because he's I love this about the quarterbacks. They backpedal when they see pressure coming. They don't stand in it, just drift backwards, throws off balance. So if he is hit, he can absorb it. It doesn't hurt. And the receivers know. They look quick. They know the blitz is coming. Good job of protecting the football again by Olsen.
1st and goal to go. Just when it looked like the Steelers had a chance to go up 14 or even 10 once they were stopped on that drive. Failed to convert. Bears looking at tying it. Cutler throws it away. Over the head of Hester, who was well guarded there by Ike Taylor.
Look top of your screen. You're the quarterback. Anybody open? Tight end. Oh, in the flat quick. He was looking in the end zone for Devin Hester, and he does not see the receiver in the right flat. That was Earl Bennett uncovered.
Second and goal from the 8. They go run. Forte twisting for only a yard. Now what do you do? 3rd and goal from the 7.
Well, I know this. I'm going to throw it. You know, again, Jim, I go back to where you are in the field. I like vertical passes. In other words, going towards the back of the end zone, or can you get a receiver to the back of the end zone and run across? Because defenders know there's an end line behind them, so they look forward and they lose their sense of that area 4 or 5 yards to the back of the end zone.
So empty it out. Here comes the blitz, the pass. Knox has the grab. Touchdown, Chicago.
Wow.
Tyrone Carter on the coverage. They were coming after Cutler. He unleashed it in a hurry, and he hits the rookie for the touchdown.
Well, the Steelers got to be frustrated. Look at the guys coming free. And what a job by Knox. Gets inside, goes up in the air. He's going to protect himself and the football from the defender.
Bobby Gold, who's only missed 1 point after in his entire career, and it came against Pittsburgh back in 05. Now making his 129th consecutive PAT to tie the game. Cutler 6 out of 7 on the drive. Knox hauls in the game-tying touchdown. A good one unfolding here in the Windy City Gymnast with Phil Simms. Chicago with a 9-play drive. Cutler on fire that time to tie it. With 6:21 to go, Logan juggles it for a moment and sprints out to the 28. Maybe got it to the 30. Cutler hits the mark on 3rd down to Knox. Game time. He was drafted 2 years ahead of Cutler. He was the 11th pick of the draft. Was Roethlisberger back in 04. Cutler was the 11th player taken in 06. They both were the 3rd quarterback in their class taken. And now let's see what Big Ben does. He relishes this situation. Game tied or a little behind in the 4th quarter. He throws it to Ward for a short gain of 4. Lance Briggs quickly in on the play.
I just want to say this, and I said it to you in the commercial. You can say what you want. I know Jay Cutler, the interceptions last week and moving teams and the way he acts, but he has got a special talent to throw the football. There's no denying it, and it is something every team's got to deal with when they face him. You have to be afraid of his ability just to make throws against your defense.
He can unload it so fast, and again unload it too, falling back. Here's Roethlisberger's pass for a 1st down. And it's Ward again, this time for 10. Next Saturday, Bobby Petrino's Arkansas Razorbacks with a road trip down to Bama. Take on Nick Saban's Crimson Tide. Vernon Gary will have the call. Tim and Spencer in the studio with the TIAA Prep College Football today. That's next week here on CBS. 1st and 10. Trying to stack the line and getting past it's Milweldy Moore. Takes it all the way down to the Chicago 43.
That was just I don't know if Ben Roethlisberger audible to this, but
that went for 15.
But they see two blitzers inside, and they had so much trouble with that kind of blitz last year against the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Giants. They've been waiting on it for today against the Bears team. And when that safety was back in the middle, Roethlisberger knew that time they were probably going to blitz. That run play was perfect for that defense.
With just 4.5 to play. Roethlisberger to Holmes. And this field, again, it's an issue here. Both the defender and the receiver slipped on that one.
Keep your feet in the ground. You can't lean in situations like this. Let's watch Antonio Holmes. Does he lean too much? Yeah, he kind of leans inside just a little bit. So think about it, Jim. When you lean, not all your cleats are in the ground, and that's why you slip. You know, overall, you don't see much slipping, and they're not tearing up the turf. So
seems like there's been a lot of slipping, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Second down and 10. They both went down on that one. Big pass and right to the hands of Hines Ward. There is a flag.
But the two slips we've seen, the big ones, not to argue about it, is
well, Olsen had a touchdown play.
It was footwork.
Offside. Defense. Number 96. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
So the Bears jumped that time.
That was it's huge. You just stopped the quick screen.
Yep.
When you got the defense, they're aggressive. Oh, just a little tiny beat off the snap count.
Yep. Would have been 3rd and 10. Back up your point. Instead, 2nd and 5. Roethlisberger's pass, and he was under pressure by Lance Briggs. Let's turn it over to James Brown with an update.
Jim and Phil, Phillip Rivers, hot today indeed. 18 of 30, 333 yards and 2 touchdowns. And hooking up here with Vincent Jackson, a 35-yard strike. Boomer just hit the biscuit in the basket. Nicely placed. 28-23, start of the 4th in San Diego. Jim Nantz and Phil Simms.
Boy, Rivers putting up some numbers in that game, but his team is trailing. And Vincent Jackson hauling that one in. Alex Brown has had a very active game, shaken up, so there's a timeout on the field. He's had a couple of sacks, but getting the attention from the medical crew. Alex Brown helped to the bench, hobbling off the field. And a huge 3rd down play coming up. Pittsburgh at the 38 of Chicago. 3rd and 5. Mark Anderson takes the place of Alex Brown on that defensive front. Roethlisberger can try to run for it. He stretches it out. Believe he's got it. We're going to call for a measurement.
Well, good job of Simpson. The middle opens up and he takes off. Let's watch the spot. Oh, what a job by Roethlisberger. His knees did not go down. He dove, kept his body.
They backed up the spot a little bit, though, with the knee, where the knee hit. He's got the first anyway. How about that with 3:58 to go? By the length of a football, even a little less. Cutler's starting to realize he may not get a chance to look at that football again. Or if he does, it might be very late, and he's coming from behind. Next Sunday's another doubleheader day here on CBS, celebrating our 50th year covering the National Football League. Early, many will see Kansas City, Philly, Tennessee at the Jets, and late the main game nationally, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, all beginning with JB, Dan Shannon, Boomer, and Coach Cowher. NFL Today. From the 33, Moore is the tailback. Moore gets the handle, and a good play by Tommy Harris backs him up too. Well, Jeff Reed kicked the game winner the first week. His 8th career game-winning field goal. Might be setting up for another one. Timeout, Chicago.
Not too heavy, not too light. Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
You like that timeout by the Bears there, Phil?
Yeah, they're looking ahead right now for the game. The time, in case the Steelers get another first down, the 2-minute stoppage. But you've got to plan, okay, if they do kick the field goal, we got to give ourselves enough time to try to go back and counter.
2nd and 12 from the Chicago 35. Wide open. The defender slipped. Tillman was down on the ground. And Wallace makes the grab, takes it to the 25. He's 2 yards short of the first.
Well, you're making a good point. Tillman does slip. Let's watch him as he tries to come back. Yeah, his cleats, what it looks like their cleats don't even go into the ground. That's why they're slipping. Because if you look at it, they're not tearing up turf. You don't see any big divots on it. And Tim, it's sprinkled. This shouldn't make the field this way. Well, let's know this. Coming into the game, some of the Bear players have complained about the footing and the grass field here in Chicago.
Big 3rd and 2 for Pittsburgh. Clock running, 3:29 to go. Roethlisberger goes down the field. He's open. And Tillman got a hand on it to knock it away. Was looking for Holmes. Going to bring out Reed from about 43. But more importantly, there's still 3:23 to go. This looked for a moment wide open, didn't it, Phil?
Yeah, it did. It did. And I'll tell you, he makes the throw. And Tillman does a good job. He times it. When Santonio Holmes puts his hands out, that's when he raised his, and he could have blocked the view of Santonio Holmes.
Now remember, Reed's already missed one in this direction in this quarter from 38. This one's 5 yards longer. Made 19 of his last 21 in the 4th quarter, even with that miss. From 43, Reed, no again! Wide left for the 2nd straight time.
Watching kick, the body language tells you it's going to be a pull. He just leans back. It looks like it's, I don't know, kicking well enough, but it looks like he gets too close to the football.
This will set up the Bears, too, at the 33-yard line.
Time is not a factor, of course. 3:18, 2 timeouts, 2-minute warning. The only factor it is, no matter what happens, you don't want to give it back to the Steelers with a chance to beat you.
So with 3:18, Chicago takes over, game tied. They go screen. Forte digs it out. He's taken off and he fumbles the football. Fallen on by Olsen. Stripped by Harrison. Boy, James Harrison led the league in forced fumbles last year. Had one last week. Forced a fumble here, but it's recovered by the Bears.
I would have, no surprise, it's a screenplay. Take advantage of an aggressive defense. But you say that about James Harrison because he has the speed and the power to chase you from behind and make plays.
Now look where Chicago resides now. At the Pittsburgh 45 with 2:35 to go. Quick toss over to Knox. He really doesn't need to race for that sideline now. That's a 5-yard gain to the 40. Well, Robbie Gould now. This could come down to his leg.
Well, I'll tell you, too, this game today, Jay Cutler, to this point, has been almost perfect. And the quick passing game that the Bears had ready for this Steelers defense, it's kind of been the difference.
It might have been better served if Knox would have stayed in bounds. 2:27 to go, 2nd and 5. Forte just to the 39. Now the Steelers have 2 timeouts. 3rd and 4 on the way. And it looks like Pittsburgh's going to go ahead and let this run down to the 2-minute warning. 4 coming up out of the break for the Bears. Game tied.
Only CBS.
For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS. Steelers and Bears. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms here in Chicago. Game tied. At the 2-minute warning, 60 Minutes coming up in its entirety immediately following the game, except on the West Coast. 3rd and 4.
Little Pittsburgh formation. Well, they move out of it.
Put Olsen in the backfield. Butler flings it. Ball is caught for the first down. That's Devin Hester, who's made 2 nice grabs in this quarter. So now Chicago can dictate.
Good formation. 3 receivers all come at once at the defense. They spread it, and Devin Hester sits down underneath. And a nice throw, nice safe throw by Jay Cutler.
Now we'll work the last 129 and counting to try to get Gold closer, who's never attempted, by the way, in his career a field goal of 50 yards at Soldier Field. It would be 51, 52 from about right here. And they move closer with Forte just inside the 30. Pittsburgh again, 2 timeouts. And now they take 1. Just a reminder that also tonight on CBS, a big night with Neil Patrick Harris hosting live the Emmys, the primetime Emmys tonight on CBS coming up. 60 Minutes and the Emmys on America's most watched network.
I would say the Bears are thinking they need at least 10 more yards to feel good about a field goal attempt. 10 more yards gives them about a 37 to 38-yard field goal attempt.
Cutler in this quarter, Phil, 9 out of 10 for 93 yards.
Well, as you watch, preseason gets players somewhat ready to play the regular season. But now, as this year goes along, Ron Turner, they're going to learn more about Jay Cutler and learn to put more plays in for him that suit him, that he can execute well.
2nd and 6. It's Forte driving behind the right tackle, Chris Williams, and another timeout quickly called by Pittsburgh, their last. It's last timeout with 1:07 to go.
And that's probably why the Bears ran the football. Make the Steelers use their last timeout, and now they have total control of the game. Get a first down and run the clock down to wherever you want it to get your field goal attempt.
Well, we talked with Levy on Friday. That fan club could expand here in just a few minutes if he, in fact, is the man who delivers the winning goods, if he gets a chance to do that. But the bad taste that Levy talked about that they had after the loss to Green Bay, and what better way to get it out than to have the Super Bowl champs here and beat them. We call it, he said, a signature victory. A 3rd and 3 and about 45-yard field goal from this distance as Forte just manages to get back to the line. So I don't know, slippery field, 45 yards, no sure thing.
Yeah, I would say too conservative for me. Your quarterback, your formations, your screens, you're handling the blitz, everything is in your favor. To finish the statement, I would have thrown the football or put it in Jay Cutler's hands.
Well, he's going to get it down to about 21 seconds before he calls a timeout. Two guys staring at a clock. Now you turn. Oh, man, that's an illegal shot to the face. Scott Green maybe in line for a little fine this week.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Blow to the head. But, you know, I watched last week's game when they're in Green Bay, and I was just a fan sitting at home as I was watching it, and the Bears went on the field for that last drive, and I thought, well, they won't be able to stop it, given Jay Cutler, the receivers, what they're doing. Give them 4 downs. They'll get down there and get a chance to win the game. But
well, Robbie Gould Phil has made his last 13 field goals if you go back to week 11 last year in Green Bay. It's going to be 44 yards. Maynard on the hold. Patrick Manley will snap it back. Can he get the proper footing? Can he get planted to deliver the big three? Gold from 44. Kick. It's good. Maynard did a good job to get that down a little high and inside.
Yeah, but he flushed it, Jim. He
did, didn't he?
You could tell by the spin of the football. He hit it exactly where he wanted to. It's a little left of center.
10 unanswered points in the quarter by the Bears.
Well, the Bears, they beat the Steelers kind of at their own game today. They just kind of hung in. You never felt like, hey, the Bears are in control where they definitely are going to win it.
Urlacher raises the good wrist. And Jeff Reed, let's face it, so reliable for so long. Just won the game a week ago, 10 days ago. Tied it to send it to overtime, won it in overtime. 8 game-winning kicks at the end, missing 2 in this quarter. Logan, they kick it to him. He's dangerous. And he's walloped at the 32. Ball is out. If the Bears have it, they do. This game is over. Chicago's going to knock out the Super Bowl champs. Craig Steltz falls on it. Jamar Williams was in on the hit. Steltz on the recovery. And a kneel down away from victory. You know, Lovey had, in his 5 previous years, had opened 3 years with a loss. And every time he came back with that crucial week 2 with a win. Now he's 4 for 4 in that scenario. 17-14 Chicago victory. Both teams walk away 1-1 on this young season. Phil, I'll see you in Cincinnati next week, my friend.
Look forward to it.
Jim Nance and all the crew saying so long from here. James Brown in New York.
All right, Jim, thank you so much. We're going to take you now to a very competitive.
The Bears and Steelers go down to the wire. Jay Cutler connected with Johnny Knox with 6:25 to go in the 4th quarter on a 7-yard touchdown strike. Pittsburgh kicker Jeff Reed missed a 38-yarder and a 43-yarder. Bears got the rock back after the final Reed miss. They went 41 yards and 8 plays. Robbie Gould from 44 yards out is good. Bears win at 17-14. The Roonies may own the Steelers, but the Bears own the Steelers at Soldier Field. 12-1 now all time against the team from the Steel City. And with that, welcome to U.S. Cellular Bears Post-Game Live. I am Pat Boyle, Mike Sy with 3 former Bears, Mr. GQ Jerry Azuma, our quarterback Jim Miller, and our lead blocker Dan Jiggets. Considering what happened last Sunday night at Lambeau Field, the way things were with this team in this town, the injuries that they had, this was a gutsy effort by this crew today against that team.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, you keep in mind who they were playing to. These are defending world champions. These guys have been pounding everybody. And all of a sudden they come in here and it looked like after that first drive that, oh, here we go again. But the Bears defense settled down and did their job. And offensively, they did what they had to do to win the football game. And on special teams, I think it was another special effort on special teams. There you have it.
How about a rebound from Jay Cutler this week?
I think it was huge because you're right. A lot of scrutiny this week by Jay Cutler. Everybody was criticizing him. came through when it mattered the most. Second quarter, 98-yard drive, touchdown to Kellen Davis, and then obviously you saw at the end of the game. Didn't happen last week in Lambeau. They had 1:11 left, remember last week. This week he gets it done. Huge week for Jay Cutler.
Cannot forget the special teams or the defense. After they give up that 13-play, 92-yard drive on the Steelers' opening drive, we're like, this is going to be ugly.
It didn't start off good.
And they absolutely rebounded.
Yeah, they rebounded it. They settled down a little bit. You know, they were able to get the job done. You know, they had a little issue with stopping the run, but they came together, they got the job done, and that's what it's all about.
Hey, it seemed to you guys like the rain had a really tough effect on the Steelers. It seemed like as soon as it started raining, Roethlisberger's passes just weren't the same. The receivers weren't the same. For whatever reason, they went through about a quarter and a half where they couldn't catch the football. They couldn't hold on to it.
Didn't bother our guy from Chicago and from Champaign, Rashard Mendenhall. He had no problems in it. As always, we want to hear from you. Send us your comments, and some of them will appear on the bottom of our sports tecker. Keep them short, keep them clean. Go to csnchicago.com, and you can click on the Bears post-game live icon and submit your comment. Let's get this thing going, though, with our opening kickoff. As always, we start with Dan Jiggets. Jigs?
Well, my first thought about this game was the Bears did exactly what they had to do, and Jay Cutler came through big time in this game. Two things that I'm worried about, though. Protecting the quarterback for next week, as well as rushing the passer next week. Let's make sure you get those things buttoned down, and then we won't have to sweat one out like we did today.
As always, Jay Cutler rebounding. That was a tough week to come back from. A lot of pressure by the city of Chicago. Obviously, he was able to overcome it. 27 of 38, had about 4 drops on the day, 236 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. That's why you got a franchise quarterback.
That's right, and it's about adversity. This team went through it, last week. With defense, they lost a lot of, starters. Brian Urlacher is one of them. On offense, they had a couple of turnovers as well that, it didn't help the outcome of the game last week. But it was all about handling adversity. How are you going to rebound and how are you going to get back to being a winning football team? They figured out to do it. They figured out a way to do it this game.
We'll take you live to Soldier Field as soon as Lovey steps up to the mic. We'll also bring you Jay Cutler's press conference live in its entirety. Let's discuss, first of all, the rebounding by the defense. After that first drive by the Steelers, what difference did you see this team make, Jigs, with what this defense was able to do? And it kind of started with the pressure up front, getting to Roethlisberger, and then therefore we had also the turnover too.
Right, you have to hope, number one, with the 4 up front, you can get some pressure on the quarterback. That didn't happen. So, Jimmy, we were sitting back there looking at it, you started seeing them blitzing, and then all of a sudden, that's when the quarterback got under a little duress. But there were plenty of circumstances where Ben Roethlisberger had plenty of time to throw the football, and then that's when you had to rely on the secondary to get the job done. Sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't. They did enough, though, to win the football game. That's the most important aspect of it.
They got back to using the tight end. Last week, Des Clark 1 catch, Greg Olsen 1 catch. Today, Kellen Davis catches that first touchdown. Greg Olsen, a huge effort out of Greg Olsen today, recovering the fumble that Forte had on the screen.
Taking the big hit down the sideline.
Taking that early on in this game as well.
I'll let the cat out of the bag. Greg Olsen, to me, was my player of the game because he opened up a lot of other things for the Chicago Bears. Again, played big when it mattered the most. Showed his toughness coming back from that big hit from Tyrone Carter. But you can see the downfield threat for a tight end. He runs like a wideout. Down the middle, takes another big hit by Tyrone Carter, able to step up, make the plays, and opened up some outlets underneath, whether it was Kellen Davis, because you saw Jay Cutler look to Greg Olsen on the fade route in the end zone. Drew the defense left, gets the big touchdown to Kellen Davis. Greg Olsen, to me, was the player of the game.
Oh, man, what about Knox, man? Come on.
Johnny Drama.
He's a rookie. He's got to earn his stripes.
Earn his stripes. 6 catches, 70 yards, and the touchdown by Johnny Knox.
Because they were guarding Olsen.
And let's not forget the kickoff return of 50 yards they had called back.
That's right.
Yeah, that's true.
This guy's a player, man.
Yes.
Come on, Jimmy.
You know what?
You're right. They were commanding double coverage on Olsen. It freed up Johnny Knox.
It's also what a good quarterback can make a young guy look like. He looked maybe better than he is.
Right. I mean, he stepped up. No, definitely. And then, there's no question about that. He stepped up, but he also had 2 drops too, which are pretty big too.
He's a young guy. He's going to get better, but you're right. You can see the speed. Speed, as we know, it can't be taught. It kills a defense, which brings up the question. I think Jiggs brings up a good point. Why did the Bears not have field turf? They're a team that's built for speed at every position. And I know it's almost sacrilegious here in Chicago, but sometimes you see Charles Tillman slipping out there. So many high school teams use this field. Might be time to go to field turf to really accentuate the abilities of this football team.
We saw Greg Olsen slip in the end zone when he had the opportunity to catch a touchdown pass. The turf has been brought up. We know the Park District handles that. They seem to think that it's a pristine. Look, when natural grass is down, what now?
What is it? The DNRs is wetlands or something?
When it's a good solid surface grass, it's most desired. But when it's like that, it's not.
I talked to Tim Lefevre this morning. I was out there signing autographs earlier, and we talked a little bit about the field. He said, "I want everybody to know." He says, "Number one, we change this field out every year. We do it about 3 times a season." He said, "But the thing is, this turf is at the very least 3 inches thick, and each roll weighs over 2,000 pounds. So you're not seeing chunks of it coming up like what first happened when they first redid Soldier Field. Yeah. Now at least it's coming up in little pops, but that's going to happen on any field where you get a little bit of rain in a day like today."
I had an interesting conversation with Bobby DePaul, the pro player personnel of the Chicago Bears, and he kind of reiterated, it'd be like a thoroughbred, a racehorse that's running in mud. That's what the Bears are right now, because they're a team that is built for speed. And I think at times it hinders how good they could be on a really fast track.
All right. Jay Cutler is walking to the podium right now at Soldier Field. We will take you there live here on U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. This is the starting quarterback of the Chicago Bears, who had a great rebound effort in the win over the defending world champs.
It looked like a completely different quarterback out there today. What was the difference?
Didn't throw 4 picks.
But you looked a lot more in control.
It's week 1 to week 2. That's kind of when you make the biggest jump, and the guys were in sync. We started off pretty basic. We wanted to kind of see what they were doing, and then as the game went on, we started making more and more plays. So guys fought hard today. We knew it was going to be 60 minutes. We knew it was going to come down to the last couple drives, and guys hung in there, and we made plays when we had to.
Can you talk about your ball control passing game? It seems like you're completing a high percentage for just games.
They do a good job. They're defending world champs for a reason. They bring a lot of stuff at you from different places. Very sound. They keep 2 safeties high a lot and keep everything in front of them. So we wanted to kind of take advantage of some zones and just dink and dunk them. And if we got a chance for a deep one, we were going to take it. But guys did a great job sitting down. O-line held up all night.
Jay, you were at your best on the time and then the winning drive. You like to be one of those quarterbacks who comes up big with the game on the line.
Yeah, I think they brought me here for a reason, and I want the ball at the end of every game for a chance to win it. And the defense stepped up, forced them into 2 missed field goals, got us the ball, and offensive line did a great job of getting those extra yards, and we converted a 3rd down with Devin. So it was 3 phases, all 3 phases: offense, defense, and special teams. Obviously, at the end, came up with a big field goal and then a big strip to get us the ball back and end it.
You talked about Johnny Knox and how he's come along so quickly.
Yeah, really quickly. In about 2 games, he's come along. With DA going down that first week, we were kind of in a scramble of who to put in there, and we put 13 in there, and he's been turning up great. In the right spots, making some adjustments on the move. I hit him over the middle. He was kind of spinning out. Not something we call. Just him out there using his ability, and I told him, congratulations. You're no longer a rookie. You're out there playing with us, and you're doing some good things for us.
How much does that surprise you?
Well, you never know. You just never know how guys are going to react out there. Once the lights turn on, you don't know if guys are still going to be able to play as fast as they are. And he's one of those guys, if not faster. He's out there buzzing around, making some big catches with people on him. He's not just making the standard catches. He caught that snag in there with a guy draped on him and turned it up. So he's he's going to be one of the guys that we're going to look to in the future.
Jay, it's your first regular season win as Bears quarterback. Mm-hmm. Coming off a tough game in a tough week. What does this win mean to you personally?
It means a lot. It means a lot to this team. We've had a lot of pressure and expectations on us since I got here, since Orlando got here, since the defense has stepped it up. So it's glad to get this one off our back and move on. I think we went to Green Bay with the whole city of Chicago on us, which is fine. We love it. We expect that out of ourselves. So to get this one, the first one behind us and get rolling, it's going to be good for us.
Jay, what were you thinking when Ben had the ball on that final drive, especially when you almost hit home from that play?
I always hope we get a chance. I always think we're going to get a chance. If it's 3 minutes, if it's 30 seconds, all we want is a shot. And watching Ben last week work against the Titans, that's what he gets paid for. Drives like that. So Peanut came with a big one, knocked it away. Defense got after the kicker again and gave us a shot. And that's what we expect out of our defense. Time in and time out. Against Green Bay, 4 turnovers, and they still gave us a shot. So our defense, they're going to hang in there until the end.
Jay, Kellen Davis had a catch on one side of the field and then a drop immediately after that interception, but then you went back to him at the goal line and made a pretty good play.
He made a couple big catches. We can't worry about drops. There's not enough time. We'll worry about that later. I think all of us were disappointed, a little pissed off that he dropped it. But, I told him, hey, hang in there. Going to keep coming back to you. And he came back to him for the touchdown. He caught another one when we were going in for our second touchdown. So, guys, it's going to happen. I'm going to miss throws. I'm going to throw interceptions. I'm going to, guys are going to miss blocks. So we just got to keep playing fast and get over it as soon as possible.
Was this a long week for you?
It was a short week. I think the Green Bay week was long. This one, it was Friday. I think before we knew it, we were ready to go. This team bounced back rather quickly. None of the guys really got down on anybody. Offense stayed with me even through the 4 picks, and we were ready to go. And I think it showed tonight.
Jay, did you say anything about Robbie Gould making a field goal? They missed 2, and he just came in and nailed this.
Yeah, Robbie's good. We knew we just had to get to the 35, and Robbie was going to make it. He's done it in 5-degree weather, in the snow, in the rain. We knew we just got to get him a shot, and he's going to drill it for us.
Anything else? All right, thanks.
Jay Cutler, after his 27 of 38 for 236-yard and 2-touchdown performance, you talk about the rebound from week 1. Oh, there you see it. The 4 interceptions last week and the 1 touchdown today. 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he was really using the tight end well. 3rd and 6 hits Kellen Davis after starting left, working through his progressions. Greg, I think, was the primary target on that. Worked his way over to Kellen Davis, and then the pass to Johnny Knox on 3rd and goal, the 7-yard touchdown strike. We're going to hear from Lovey in just a second, but break down initially what you saw from Jay.
I think he was much more patient this week, and that really just taking what was underneath led to some bigger plays later in the game, especially the second half. The big catch, the 29-yarder to Greg Olsen.
Lovey is addressing the media. Let's listen in.
Anytime you can beat the Super Bowl champion, you have to be excited about it, and we are. Guys played hard throughout, time after time. Offense, of course, that 97-yard drive, I thought Jay was outstanding all day. Line, the Steelers put a lot of pressure on us, but I thought, the line hung in there, and we just kept fighting and making plays. Young players, when guys go down with injuries, you have, players get an opportunity to show what they can do. Johnny Knox has gotten better every time he's played for us, and he gets more confidence every time he goes on the football field. Kellen Davis, we needed him to step up for Dez Clark, and he did. So just a good job of the offense there of answering the call and driving down and making a play to win the game for us. Defensively, they played hard throughout. We got our first takeaway. Of course, that was big. Whenever you can get that. Alex Brown, the defensive line, played hard. Hunter Hillenmeyer stepping in place of Brian. Getting Charles Tillman. We had some new starters out there today, and Zach Bowman and Danielle playing his first game. But the guys just kept fighting all the way up until. And then special teams. We call on Robbie Gould quite a few times to win the game for us, and it's the same thing. He's good as gold most of the time. Injury-wise, Alex Brown went down there at the end. He has an ankle sprain. We'll see exactly, how that plays out. Beyond that, we've gotten ourselves back to 1-1 and have a big one coming up against Seattle this week. Question?
Lovey, normally you like to run the ball more than that, but is that kind of beating your head against the wall against this team? You have to find another way to...
Well, of course, we would like to run the football, but at the same time, if you come with that much pressure and you single up on the outside, you have to throw the ball. And the guys on the outside have to win the one-on-one battles, and we won it constantly, you know, throughout the day. Greg Olson also, of course, you know, took a big shot there, got back up, just played hard throughout. Our tight ends really played well today.
Did you kind of use the passing game as a running game by throwing so many short passes?
I mean, we just use the passing game as that's a little bit deep there. We use the passing game as a passing game to throw some short, you know, we just really taking what the defense was giving us. When they come with pressure like that, you have to be able to get the ball off quickly, and we're able to do that.
How surprised should we be by Johnny Knox?
I think for the guys that's been around, even from training camp, even from the mini camp, I think you've seen, you know, some of his potential. And again, from each game seemed like he's taken another step. Great speed. He's catching the ball better and better every time out. Wouldn't necessarily say you should be surprised.
Well, you always talk about his mental makeup. He had a rough preseason, a couple of games where he had some drops. For him to be able to focus back this early in some big games.
Well, I think he's a confident player. Most guys, you know, your first NFL action, some of those things happen. We judged him. He set the bar the first time, and we've just judged him based on his improvement each week, and he's made a lot of improvement each week. Once you get a little confidence and you have some success, of course, you know that you can just get that much better, which he's done.
Since the run game hasn't really gotten going yet, do you feel like you can win consistently being a pass-first team?
Well, we haven't had a lot of yards, I think, but being a running team and continuing to run the ball, and just by people knowing that we're a running team, that's doing enough in itself right there. Some days team will gang up on the run, and we'll beat them passing the ball. So still pleased with what we're doing with the running game.
What did you think about Jay, the 4 picks last week, today, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions?
Well, as we said last week, I mean, there's normally a big improvement between game 1 and 2. In the preseason, Jay came back the second time and played a lot better. We, as an offense, as a team, have a long ways to go still. But he's a pro. I think he handled the week well this past week. And, it's off to next week now.
Was there a conscious decision?
I'm sorry?
Was there a conscious decision to be a little more conservative this week?
Was there a conscious decision to be a little bit? No. We're just running our offense just like last week. We just ran it better this week.
One more question for Coach. What kind of cheerleader is Brian Urlacher?
A great cheerleader, a great captain, great teammate, great Chicago Bear. He's down right now. He won't play for us, but he'll help in other ways. You saw him down on the sideline, of course, cheering his guys on. Thank you.
Lovie Smith addressing the media after his team goes to 1-1 on the campaign. We talked about the rebound from Lambeau Field to today. How about the rebound between the first and second quarter? Total yards for the Bears offense, 119 to just 11 in the first 15 minutes of this game. Passing yards, 104 to 8. Rushing yards, well, they really didn't get off the bus running it off. They got off the bus throwing. Got 9 first downs in all in the time of possession. If you look at the Steelers' first half comparison, it's almost the exact reversal of that. That being said, your thoughts on the play calling? I mean, we thought that they needed to get back to the running game, but in all honesty, it was the passing game that won them this contest.
Yeah, hard getting back to the run game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's a #1 defense in the NFL last year. Casey Hampton is probably one of the premier nose tackles in the NFL with the zero technique. Tough duty for Olin Kreutz today. So not really a good push in the run game. Just a lot of Dick LeBeau's blitzes are designed to stop the run. So you rely on the franchise quarterback, and Jay Cutler started to soften up again, went underneath, started picking the Steelers apart, and it paid huge dividends in the second half.
Pat, one of the things when we're sitting there watching the game and you're watching this run game not develop, occasionally you see a 4 or 5 yard clip. But one of the things the Bears are doing successfully offensively is the quick screens out to the flats, to the wide receivers, working the tight ends, as you mentioned, real quick across the front. And those are the kind of things you have to do to loosen up a defense like that, because you're right, you're sitting there trying to run this thing and everybody's shooting the gap and somebody's going to blow up the play.
Talk about a little bit, Zoom, the adjustments that this defense made. On that first drive the Steelers had, they were throwing the wide receiver screens. It was a really well-executed opening drive by the Steelers. What adjustments did you see Lovey's defense make, later in that first quarter and into the second?
Well, it seemed like they just settled down. They started off, kind of frazzled a little bit, but they settled down, especially with that takeaway from Peanut Tillman. After that moment, it seemed like they settled down. They started to get into their own. They started making their plays.
What about Hunter Hillenmeyer filling in for Brian Urlacher? Your thoughts on what you saw from Hunter today?
Well, there are going to be some pluses and minuses when you're missing a guy like Brian. Probably usually more minuses than pluses. But one of the things that you watch Hunter today, a couple times he got caught up on some blockers and he got flipped out of there. But as a general rule, he's in the right spot, making sure that he fills his gap. And that's what was so important with this defense all along, is to make sure you stay in your gap and stop anybody from getting a significant run. Happened about 2 or 3 times now where Pittsburgh broke some big runs. But other than that, he did what he was supposed to do. And in the passing game, he was where he's supposed to be, making plays.
Your thoughts, Jim, on the use of the tight end. With Des Clark going down, it gave an opportunity to Kellen Davis. And it was brought up to Jay, Kellen drops a sure pass there on the first attempt his way. Everybody, you kind of sit there and go, well, why? If you can't make that catch, you're not going to play on Sundays. He rebounded in this game and certainly, scored his first touchdown.
Well, I don't see Des Clark coming off the gurney. He had to play today. So you're right, had to settle down. I know Kellen Davis pretty well because he's a very good athlete out of Michigan State, played on both sides of the ball, and he's a big guy. People don't realize he's 6'6", can really bring a lot of athletic ability, and I think you saw it on display. Here, Jay Cutler, they run the bootleg nakeds. He kind of, just getting his first catch on the day, didn't squeeze it, was already looking to turn it up upfield because with Des Clark out, if Kellen Davis can get the ball on the run, he can turn it into big yardage. That didn't happen today, but he's a big guy.
Pat, I'm surprised you're jumping on one of your Sparties, man.
Yeah.
What's wrong with
you just call like I see it. Could have used a couple catches in South Bend. You know what I'm seeing. Hey, Tyrone Carter filling in. You talk about guys stepping up for Troy Polamalu. He closed the gap several times in this game.
He closed more than the gap.
He absolutely crushed Greg Olsen in that first half.
You wonder, and Jerry talked about it, because why wasn't it a penalty? That's a helmet-to-helmet collision. He did it later in the game as well. I mean, that's what the NFL is trying to protect players. We know about player safety. Commissioner Roger Goodell's doing a great job. But to me, that hit on Olsen should have been a penalty. He launched, and it was helmet-to-helmet.
You don't want to hear what Jerry's got to say on this stuff.
How are you supposed to hit a guy?
Oh, here we go.
How are you supposed to hit a guy? Tell me how you're supposed to hit him.
Not with your helmet.
Not with your helmet? Everybody hits with their helmet.
You hit him like Urlacher did last week on Aaron Rodgers, and Rodgers was still complaining. Just went with the shoulder.
That's Urlacher, though.
Went with the shoulder. But I thought, to me, that should have been flagged for a penalty.
If that you think should have been a penalty, what about on the Steelers' final drive that ended up with Reed missing his second field goal? When Charles Tillman is defending Santonio Holmes, he kind of gets a little bit of the laundry as he goes by.
That's a veteran move.
And then he puts his hand up. It looks like face guarding there. Explain
it does look like face guarding, but it's really not face guarding because he timed it up perfectly. When the wide receiver went up with his hands, that's when Peanut went up with his hands, and it was just a perfect time play.
So no penalty on the defense.
Absolutely no penalty on that. Okay.
Adewale Agunlia had 2 sacks last week. Big part of today's win. He's standing by with our Kip Lewis. Take it away, Kip.
Well, guys, we knew coming into this game the defense would have their hands full. And Adewale, you guys knew this was going to be a tough task. You got to be happy just to come away with a victory out of this one.
Yeah, it's huge. At home you got to protect home field advantage. But have the defending Super Bowl champions come in here and grind the win out the way we did. It's a morale booster for us, and hopefully we can use it as a stepping stone.
And anytime you hold a team like that to 14 points, you know that you guys are going to have a good shot to win a game.
Yeah, and that was cool. That was, our goal was to play a little bit better. They scored more than what we wanted to, but we wanted to make a statement. We've been playing good defense these first 2 games. Losing Brian was huge, but we showed that we have some good depth and some guys that can step in and fill in for him.
How important was that in this game? You mentioned Brian being out and the guys that stepped in. What do you think of Hunter's performance, even without seeing it on tape? How do you think he did in this game?
I think he did great. He's an amazing, he's kind of, even though he's not the captain, he's kind of the captain of the defense. He's calling the plays, getting the checks, and he did a good job. The crowd noise was amazing, was messing with us a little bit, but he's got to be able to fight through it, and he did.
You look at this game, sort of maybe that game that sort of could propel you guys, the tough, gritty win, a game that you have to grind it out, and it comes right down to the end?
Yeah, it could. If we stay on top of our game and we don't make mistakes, But the key is we got to take it one step at a time. We've got Seattle coming on, a pretty good team, great quarterback, good offensive line again. So we're going to be focused again. And as offense continues to play and play well, we got to stay on top of our game.
You guys happy with the pressure you got on Ben today?
No, not really. I think I would like to have gotten more, but the ball was coming out quick. I think we did miss a couple tackles, but we got some turnovers in the game, which we didn't get against Green Bay. And at the end, that probably worked for our favor.
Finally, a lot of people talked about the field conditions in this game. How bad was it? We saw some guys slip. Obviously, Robbie did a good job getting that field goal at the end. Did you guys have any problems with it?
I personally didn't. I usually don't like our field, but today it held up pretty well for us. I saw Peanut slipping a couple times back there, but other than that, they did a pretty good job.
Well, I appreciate your time. Good luck next week. Guys, they got another big one coming up at Seattle next week. Let's go back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Kip, thank you very much. And for the second straight week, the Bears come through with one of their defensive linemen coming through with more than one sack. Last week it was Wale. Today, Alex Brown, the 2 sacks that the Bears registered against Ben Roethlisberger. Taking a look at the Steelers' offense today, total yards 308, 105 on the ground, 200 through the air, 6 of 12 on third down conversions. Your thoughts on what you saw from this Steelers offense and some of the changes that were made? Certainly in the second half, the Rashard Mendenhall and even Willie Parker over the right side of the Bears line was big.
Had some big runs, and that's probably where you miss the speed of Brian Urlacher, in my opinion, at the linebacker spot. But this Steelers offense has changed. I mean, it is not a grind-it-out, run-the-football type of mentality anymore. You see the short, quick games that Adewale was talking about. That's tough for a defensive lineman. You saw the Bears almost peel off real quickly because they were 3-step drops, the slant routes, the little bubble screens, things like that. What's concerning for the Bears, especially in the first half and one time the second half, the 3rd and longs, where it's a deep in cut and the Steelers were getting a big first down. That has to be corrected for the Bears because we know they've been great on 3rd downs in the past.
Jimmy, part of that was the fact that when we go back and we talk about pressure, that's the area where pressure became so important. You're right. When the ball's coming out off a 3-step drop, there's not much a defensive lineman can do other than try to put his hands up and block it. But when you saw Ben Roethlisberger sitting back there going from one receiver to the next moving around a little bit, he's great at moving around in the pocket. And then, of course, when you get to him, that's the good news. The bad news is you have to try to bring him down. But I think that's where the Bears need to improve defensively with those 4 guys up front. But Alex Brown made some huge plays, even when he didn't get the quarterback on the ground. Remember the Peanut Tillman interception, a result of Alex Brown getting to the quarterback and pressuring him.
And we saw a lot of the Gator shop today.
A lot of Gator love out there.
A lot of Gator love out there. Hopefully there's a lot of love from the training staff because Alex left that game, couldn't put a lot of pressure on the left side. He's got an ankle sprain, according to Lovie Smith. That's something we'll continue to monitor on Comcast Sportsnet in the coming hours and days. As we head to break, let's check out our U.S. Cellular poll question. What impressed you most about this Bears victory? Was it A, Cutler's improved play from week 1 to week 2? The defense stepping up. C, the emergence of Johnny Drama Knox. Or D, the tight ends getting involved in the game. Log on to csnchicago.com to vote. Plus, send us your thoughts on today's game. We'll have the results of our poll question coming up later in the show. Bears blitz. They break down the offense on Wednesday. They focus on the defense Thursday. Plus, you can send your questions to Jigs on our website, csnchicago.com. It's Bears Blitz Wednesdays and Thursdays all season long right here on Comcast Sportsnet. Hunter Hillenmeyer, he'll certainly be featured this week. He had 4 tackles as he takes over for Brian Urlacher. He addressed the media a short time ago.
I don't know. I mean, they kind of got us on our heels right off the start. You know, things weren't working. We were tired. You know, a lot of guys with their hands on their hips on that first drive. They still had some success against us. You know, that definitely wasn't a dominating performance by our defense, but we did just enough to win. Our offense and special teams really did some awesome things. Really a total team win because you know, we didn't play perfect football out there on defense and still managed to get away with a victory against a team like Pittsburgh.
And adding to the challenge probably, you know, you've been in there before, but a couple other new faces, communication, I know you had to call timeout at one point, getting everybody on the same page, may have taken a while?
Yeah, that and the fact that it was really loud, which is an awesome thing, but we had a whole lot of checks going in on defense, and so we were trying to switch some coverages up there and having a hard time communicating it, but we felt like we did some good things. especially there towards the end, we started getting a lot of pressure, which is always good. You know, Ben will pick you apart if he has time back there, and towards the end, you know, we did a better job of getting to him.
Did you guys change up the scheme? It seemed like you and Lance were showing almost every time there down near the end.
I don't know if we switched up the scheme. It is a little bit of a cat and mouse. You know, we do one thing and then they adjust their offensive line to pick that up, and so then we switch to something else. You know, that went on. There was 5 or 6 rounds of that over the course of the game, and our coaches did a great job of picking up on how they were trying to block us and making adjustments to try to get guys free or get guys on a back. And it seemed to be working there towards the end.
How was your comfort level out there? I mean, you've been here before, but just getting thrown into the fire, especially against that team out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's especially the mic position, just because there's so much communication. I'm about to lose my voice, you know. Credit to our fans that it was that loud out there, but I'm definitely glad to have that one done with, especially against a team like Pittsburgh. They do a lot of stuff, you know, really test all your keys, moving guys around, lots of misdirection stuff, and for linebackers, that sometimes can have you spinning like a top out there. So glad we settled down.
Early on in this game, the Bears defense certainly was on their heels, certainly in that first drive by the Steelers. And that is important what Hunter brings out. From the mic position, he's got to be the guy that is orchestrating that defense and telling everybody where to go. And if you bring a guy like Derek Brooks in here, even though he knows the Tampa 2 and knows Lovey very well, he doesn't know all the different reads right now. So if you're Lovey and you're Jerry Angelo, or you're holding off on making that phone call, you're staying with what you got right now?
Yeah, you know, I guess for the moment. But you know what? Here's the thing that scares me is if somebody else goes down in one of those linebacking positions, then he may be gone by then. Yeah. And then you're settling for, you know, some guy who was drafted about 2 weeks ago. So that's the thing that scares you.
It's tough because when you can only dress 45 guys on a game day roster, Derek Brooks is strictly going to play linebacker. That's it. Here they make the decision based on their special teams, and we think that all 3 phases won the game today. Johnny Knox proved to be huge in the special teams play. You look at other guys who they added to this roster. Tim Shaw, a player from Penn State, played on special teams today. So to me, it was more about the whole team rather than just one position, because it's the whole of the group.
And you also have Jamar Williams, who can play all 3 linebacker positions as well. So that gives him some good depth there.
Hey, Pat, you know, one thing I've been denied until this point in the show is to drink a
Let
little
them know,
Kool-Aid.
James. Let them know.
Have a little Bears Kool-Aid.
How's it taste?
Excellent. Tastes like victory. You know what I'm saying?
He was a little dehydrated.
Yeah, a little part.
It's like a 17-14 victory over the defending world champs. Greg Olsen, 3 catches in this game, took some big licks in this contest. He addressed the media a short time ago.
We knew that it was just about time. You know, it was about just time before we'd, start clicking and punch it through, and that's all.
Well, one of the bigger plays that might get lost is that you're recovering Forte's fumble on that final drive too.
Yeah, things happen. Pop the ball out, but that's why guys. You always see our guys running to the ball at the end, and for little things like that, we're there to back each other up.
Was the turf bad out there? It seemed like there was a lot of slipping even before
there were
the
some
rain.
spots, but it was fine. We, everyone adjusted. Got their feet under them as the game went on, and I don't think it really had an impact on the game really.
The way you and Carter met out there a couple times, you almost with Palomalo was out there, or no?
Yeah, that's part of the game. We were able to at the end. You'll take those hits and get big plays down the field. So that's part of it, and there's no problem with it.
That went along the side. Was that a helmet, almost helmet to helmet?
No. The guy made a good play. He broke on the ball hard and timed it up well. Just as the ball was getting there, he broke it up. So, credit to them. That's football.
What changed after the first couple series, Greg, when it seemed like it took a while to get things
sluggish in the beginning? But it's a great defense we were playing against. So it takes a little time to get your, kind of get your feet wet and kind of get a feel for the game. And I think that was the case as the game went on. I think guys started to make plays and felt comfortable. And we made the plays at the end when we had to.
How difficult is that team to run against, and how much of it was?
They're a great defense. Obviously, everyone knows that. Up front, they're probably about as good as you're going to get. And but you can't abandon the run, and we didn't. And we continued to run. We were able to chip away at a few things, and we did what we needed to do to win.
Time for another break here on U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. Here is our poll question. What impressed you most about this Bears victory over the Steelers? Cutler's improved play from week 1 to week 2. The defense stepping up. The emergence of Johnny Knox, or those tight ends, Greg Olsen, Kellen Davis, getting involved. Go to csnchicago.com. We have the results coming up. We have Ron Turner addressing the media, and we'll have Jerry's GQ or not around the corner. Sports Center. Bears offensive coordinator Ron Turner devised a game plan that ended up with 18 running plays, 38 passing plays. He addressed the media a short time ago.
We can call what we want to call. We don't have to hold anything back for him. He's doing a good job of handling everything.
How have you seen him grow since training camp? Seen him, grow into this role?
He's been very impressive. I mean, since the first day he got here, I mean, we all commented that a lot of times young guys come in, it takes them a while to learn to play fast, play the game, the speed you have to play it. He did it from day one, and he is going to training camp with preseason games and 2 regular season games. He hasn't gotten big-eyed or anything like that. I mean, he just goes out and plays with confidence. He's a good football player.
It's the second game you've had some trouble running the ball. What do you have to do better?
Keep at it. Keep running. I mean, this team we played today is one of the best teams against the run in the last several years, and we knew it was going to be that kind of game. You just keep pounding, and make some plays, mix the run, mix the pass, make some plays in both, and just keep going. That's what we got to do moving forward.
So you'd like to
stick
be more
with it.
balanced if you could.
I don't know, more balanced than what? I'm not sure what you're talking about. We always want to be balanced. We always want to have balance between run and pass. Some games it's going to go a little more in the direction of run. Some games it's going to go more in the direction of pass. And at the end of the season, we want to have balance. I'm not sure what more balance you're talking about, but yeah, balance.
Ron, against this defense, do you go in knowing that not a lot of teams can run against this team successfully, so you're going to have to find other ways to attack them?
Yeah, you go in and like you do any game and say we just got to stick with our plan and obviously try to run the football and hopefully we can make some plays in it. We're in this game saying it's going to be a 60-minute plus fight. Just keep fighting. And we know there's going to be some ugly plays. There's going to be some good plays. You just keep battling, keep fighting, and hope that we can make some plays when we have to, and we did tonight.
Did the receivers do a better
Bears
job?
made just enough plays. Coming up, Jerry's GQ, the MVP. And for those of you who have dreamed of getting paid to watch sports, here's your chance. Log on to register.immi.com to learn more. We're back after this. And we begin with Jerry Azuma.
On offense, I'm going to go with Cutler. 2 TDs and 0 interceptions. I love it. And for defense, I'm going to go with Alex Brown. This guy had 4 tackles, 2 sacks. All the tackles were for loss. So those are my 2 monsters.
Jim?
Well, Greg Olsen, I know everybody's surprised I'm not voting for Jay Cutler, but I'm going Greg Olsen. He had 3 catches today, 41 yards. The really big one in the second quarter of or the second half, a 29-yarder. Took the 2 big hits that probably should have been penalties on Greg Olsen, and he recovered a fumble from Forte to set up the game-winning field goal.
And I'm going to go with Jay Cutler again because of the huge turnaround that he experienced from week 1 to week 2. And on the defensive side, I don't think there's any question. Alex Brown had a huge game. Let us not forget the pressure that he got on Ben Roethlisberger led to the turnover, the Peanut Tillman interception.
I'm going with Jay Cutler as my most valuable player. Comes back after a horrific debut for the Bears last week at Lambeau Field, getting judged on his facial expressions and how he walked into the media room at Hallis Hall, what he wore. He bounces back with 27 of 38, 2 touchdowns, and he outduels one of the best quarterbacks in the league in Ben Roethlisberger. All right, time now for Jerry's GQ as we take a look at our Bears MVP through the first 2 weeks. You got Wale last week, chiming in with 3 votes. Jay now has 3, followed by Brown, Greg Olsen, Daniel Manning, and Devin Hester. All right, time now for Jerry's GQ segment, but it was a little lean tonight, so it's Jerry's GQ Extreme Makeover Edition.
This is very, very tough. Man, it's just...
Well, what's the
they
deal?
Didn't come out. They didn't come out right. This was disheartening. This was,
You're still tight with these guys.
I'm very tight with these guys.
Are you not
I'm very
teaching them enough?
I'm disappointed right now. I think I might have to go in and do something about this soon.
We're getting nervous about your techniques, and either that or they're not coaching.
Yeah, your techniques.
They're going to start off with Kellen right now. Come on, Kellen. And then Wale, the turquoise Jesus piece, what is that? With the yellow shirt? Nice haircut, I guess. But other than that, it's Jerry's non-GQ. Jerry's non-GQ.
All right, well, this week, you got to take him shopping or something. You got to go over there, the Extreme Makeover.
You need to send out some gift cards.
This is really bad.
Jared Wolf looked like Will.i.am last week, or
that was even a stretch.
Yeah, that was a stretch.
That was even a stretch.
Nobody this week, so you're gonna have to coach him up, and we'll see what happens. Coming up next, we're gonna hear from Robbie Gould, and we'll preview next week's game against the Seattle Seahawks as the Bears head west 1-1 after this big victory over the defending world champs. Keep it right here. Back on US Cellular Bears Postgame Live. Here is our poll question on this night. What impressed you most about the Bears' victory? Here's what you had to say after logging on to CSNChicago.com. 50% of you said it was the emergence of the rookie out of Abilene Christian, Johnny Knox. 32% said it was Jay Cutler's improved play. The defense stepping it up, got 11% of the vote, 7% went to the tight ends. You guys' thoughts on this? Are you surprised Johnny Knox gets a lot of love on our poll question today?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the turnaround. I mean, this is a guy, the last time he was playing, I think he was probably playing somebody like West Texas State or something like that. And then you see him in a game against the defending world champions, and the guy looks like he owns the place.
That's right.
So I think it was a huge surprise and a very pleasant surprise to everyone.
Starting to look like the #1 wide receiver also.
He was fast there, and he's fast in the pros, too. So he's going to continue to do well.
Jeff Reed misses 2 field goals, one of the most accurate kickers in the National Football League. All Robbie Gould continues to do is put him through the uprights for the Chicago Bears. His 44-yarder was the game winner. He addressed the media a short time ago. Let's listen in.
Those guys are out there busting their butt for 60 minutes. I don't want to let my teammates down, and everyone's done a great job on our field goal our field goal protection team, blocking up front. Pat and Brad have been great holding and snapping, and I'm very lucky to have those guys around. So,
is there a distance you're pretty comfortable with?
Yeah, I mean, every kick's a makeable kick. You don't really think about. They're not going to send you out to a kick that you're not going to be able to make. They're going to put you in situations where you can make every kick, and that's my approach.
How much did seeing what Reed went through, did you pay any attention to that stuff?
Not really. I mean, Jeff's a great kicker. He's done a great job for the Steelers, and he'll continue to do a great job. Sometimes you have those games, and unfortunately he had his tonight. And, we got an opportunity to win a game, and everyone pulled together and put in a last drive, and, we kicked the field goal to win it, and now we're 1-1.
The other things to block out, you got rain, you got the new turf too. Does that factor in at all or no?
Not really. You don't really think about it. You got to kick in it, So the biggest thing that really takes a toll on any kicker in this stadium is the wind. So you got to figure out the right line and judge it the right way and make sure you kick towards your target. And you really can't think about the turf or the sleet, the snow, the rain. The conditions are the conditions, and you can't have any excuses. So you got to go out there and do your job.
It's only week 2, but how important was this? You don't want to be going out to Seattle, down 2 games already.
Every win's important, especially after last week when we lost a tough one out of Green Bay. We came back home and battled to get a win tonight, and it feels great to get a win, but we got to go back to work. And like you said, it's only week 2. We got 15 more to play, so we got to get ready to go.
We thank those of you that have logged on to CSNChicago.com or by your mobile device have sent us an email at BearsPGL@ComcastSportsNet.com like Henry in Hillside did. Do you think Robbie Gould is the most clutch kicker in the National Football League? Everyone critiques him as saying he doesn't have the strongest leg from 50 and out, but he's certainly one of the most accurate. So your thoughts on that?
Solid. I mean, I haven't really seen this guy miss too often, and his percentages are just basically through the roof. So, I mean, he is Mr. Clutch in my opinion. I mean, you look at today's game. For the Steelers, he wasn't Mr. Clutch. But you look at Robbie, he's clutch.
The elements he has to kick into are far worse than other kickers around the National Football League, and there's good ones. Shane Graham, Cincinnati, Rob Baronis down there in Tennessee. Those guys are outstanding kickers. I'd put Robbie Gould up there with those guys easily.
Absolutely. Yep.
Up next on the docket is Seattle. The Bears head out there 1-1. In today's game, Seattle lost 4 starters, including quarterback Matt Hasselbeck, to a rib injury. No word yet if they'll be able to go next week. So, okay, both teams banged up going into this one. Certainly, we got to check out the status of Alex Brown this week. He's been one of their best defensive linemen, certainly in the last couple years now for the Bears. But, hey, this is a huge victory. To go out there 1-1, and you've got Seattle and Detroit before the bye. A lot easier. As John Mullen said, no Bears team has ever started 0-2 and made the postseason. That's a pretty telling sign.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, just from the mental standpoint of how you feel about, what your chances are all the way through the season. To have won a game like this one today is huge, but you do have to put it behind you. Enjoy yourselves tonight, and then Monday morning get back to work because Seattle, believe me, is going to be enough of a challenge, especially out there.
And obviously going to the Super Bowl is even worse if you look at the statistics of going 0-2 and making it to the Super Bowl. Good bonus. Maybe next week we get that ground game churned up for the Bears. See, go look what Frank Gore did against Seattle today. I think he had 126 yards rushing, so maybe Matt Forte in this ground game can get going out in the great Northwest because it looks to be a problem for Seattle.
Gore had touchdown runs of 79-yard, a career best 80 yards, finished with 207 on 16 carries against him. All right, guys, after the first 2 weeks, all right, last week the world was coming to an end, and Jay Cutler it came to Chicago where quarterbacks go to die. This week, it's a whole lot different, thanks to the over 500 of you that logged on to csnchicago.com and sent us your thoughts on today's game. But let's talk about the confidence level you have now with the first 2 games. Again, it's just 2 weeks of work to judge these guys on, but we saw some pieces, and to me, the most telling sign was the ability to battle back from what you said, adversity.
That's right.
And this team had a lot of it this week, certainly with the injuries to Brian Urlacher.
Definitely, you see this team is starting to rise up a little bit, and that's good, and they beat the defending Super Bowl champion, so I'm feeling really good and really confident right now. So
you go back to last week, they had the game in hand. After all of the 4 interceptions and everything else, it was theirs to win. They were ahead in the ball game. You come down with about, a minute and a half to go? That's when they handed back to Green Bay. But other than all of that, with all that went on, they still had a chance to win it.
That's going to do it for this edition of U.S. Cellular Bears Postgame Live. Bears take care of the Steelers.
Bears.
17-14 is your final. For Jerry Zuma, Jim Miller, Dan Jiggets, Kip Lewis, John Moon Mullen. Those of you out there logging on to csnchicago.com, thanks for doing that. I'm Pat Boyle. We'll see you next Sunday, immediately following the Bears and Seahawks. Have a great week, everyone. Bears take care of the world champs. Bears! Kool-Aid. Bears.